When's the next new Christmas song going to come out?
I don't know. We need something. Do you know the Band-Aid's new?
No, it's trash.
It's all right.
No,
the more
and
you
anyway,
hear
I think, to be honest with you, morally wrong. There's something wrong with that now for me. It's just, like loads of, rich Western people, enhancing their careers, singing about the plight of, I don't know. It just seems a wee bit icky in this day and age. I'm sure they can.
It doesn't sit right with Ed Sheeran.
It's like a humble brag, right? It's like saying,
like what?
It's just a humble brag.
I don't know what that means. A humble.
I'm trying to phrase it. It's just like sort of, I'm famous, I'm rich, and I'm using that to sort of make myself feel better. I don't know.
But it's going to make money for the charity, isn't it?
Yeah, but why don't donate some of their own money, or
No, that'll be too costly for them. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something in this day and age. It feels a little bit patronising. I don't know. With everything that's going on in the world, but anyway, be that as it may, I don't think the song needed to be remade. More Sabrina Carpenter, that's what I say.
Yeah. What about APT? APT?
You're not right. Any plans for the weekend? You've your tree up, so you're just going to.
I got the tree up. I need to get the rest of the decorations, mooch up, tidy up the place a bit, and then
fall asleep during the late show. If there's as sure as a gun fires bullets, you will be asleep during that today.
I can't sleep tonight because I'm working in the Castle Grove Christmas party entertainment.
Right,
so I'm looking forward to that ever so much, and all. I'm grateful for the work in that. But I feel the boys' favourite Christmas movies, Home Alone, and the toy shows, the Home Alone.
Tape it. They'll all be asleep anyway.
Yeah, maybe just watch it during the day with the boys and light the fire and have the crack and graze away in food 100%. And stuff. That's
what to do. Yeah.
Thanks for talking that one out of me.
It's too late. It's too late anyway.
They'll be falling asleep, and I'll be falling asleep.
It's. I don't know why they don't start at 8 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a good show, right? A
See
nice
you
weekend.
Soon. Have a great weekend, my friend. That's Lee Gooch back on Monday morning at 6:30. Okay, it is the 9 till noon show. Our Friday panel is assembled and will be joining us very shortly. But first, let's get a news update, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Taoiseach and Taoiseach are attending the British-Irish Council today, which is being hosted in Scotland. The meeting will be British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's first to attend, while Northern Ireland First Minister Michelle O'Neill will also be there. Barry White has more from Edinburgh.
The 42nd meeting of the Council is expected to focus on the climate crisis and transitioning to clean energy. However, today's meeting may also be a chance for the Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael leaders to talk about issues much closer to home, with reports today saying that Micheál Martin is prepared to play hardball over the role of rotating Taoiseach. Fine Gael wants a 2.5-year split on the role, similar to the arrangement in the outgoing government. However, it's understood Fianna Fáil will seek to hold the office of Taoiseach for around 3 years.
Storm Dara is set to make landfall later. A status orange wind warning will come into effect for the entire country from 10 o'clock tonight until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, a status yellow alert for rain will come into place for 13 counties across the northern half of the country from 10 o'clock this morning, with a nationwide yellow wind warning kicking in at 3. Met Éireann's Linda Hughes says there could be fallen trees and damaged power lines as a result of Storm Dara.
I've seen a lot of Christmas decorations going up this week. So there are going to be very strong winds right across the country. So just to make sure that everything is secured well before we get into this evening.
There's calls for a specific funding stream to be set up to fund much needed repairs of bridges across Donegal. Several bridges in the county are in a state of disrepair due to the lack of monies available to fix them. The Oncarrow Bridge in West Donegal was recently damaged after a car collided with it. A structural survey is now required to be carried out before funding can be sought. Councillor Michael McClafferty is calling for a review of how bridge repairs are funded.
Over 5,000 bridges/crossings you have here in the county of Donegal. That's a hell of a lot of maintenance alone, never mind trying to top of that then when issues arise now of walls getting doubled. It's all down to money, it's all down to funding. We can only work with the tools we have at the minute, and unfortunately we don't have a great set of tools. But I hope when the new government is formed here going forward, somehow achieve that to get a better position on bridges.
Weather now. Storm Dara will bring wet and very windy weather today. Rain will be widespread and heavy at times, possibly causing localised flooding. Some sleet is possible also, with highest temperatures of 8 to 11 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Did you know we all have a superpower? The power to make our family and friends feel loved at Christmas. by sending them a handwritten card. Send magic with Christmas stamp booklets. You can buy them in-app, online and at your local post office. T's and C's apply.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to the 9 till Noon Show. It is 3 minutes past 9 on this Friday, the 6th of December, and you're very welcome along to this show. We have our Friday panel joining us. I'll introduce them to you very, very shortly. Later on, we'll be answering you legal questions with Seamus Gunn. So if you have a question that you wish to have answered, get in touch with us right now. And also, a little later on between 11 and 12, that's entertainment with Michael and Fanula and so much more besides. So if you want to get involved in the conversation or ask your questions, 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. If you prefer, you can email comments at highlandradio.com. All right. We are introducing our panel to you now, and it's kind of a mix because we have Professor Pat O'Connor, Professor of Sociology and Social Policy Emeritus at University of Limerick with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. Morning, listeners.
It's great to have you with us. And joining us in studio is Ben Harkin, an author. Good morning, Ben.
Morning, Greg.
Thank you very much for joining us. And Doreen Sheridan Kennedy will be joining us shortly. I don't believe she's there just now. You aren't there at the moment, Doreen, are you? No, you aren't. Okay.
Yeah, good morning.
Oh, you are there. I beg your pardon. I couldn't see you.
Here, but you just can't see me. I'm trying to work this out here.
No, don't worry about that. It's good to have you with us. Okay. Right. Okay. The outgoing Taoiseach and Taoiseach said discussions about forming new government will begin next week. Simon Harris and Micheál Martin will have informal talks today during a meeting of the British-Irish Council in Edinburgh. Yesterday, Mr. Martin said that nothing should be taken for granted about the outcome of negotiations about the formation of a new government. They'll now have to decide, I suppose, who to go into government with and how the role of Taoiseach should be rotated. Labour Party and Social Democrats are a group of independents. Do you have a preference, Pat O'Connor?
I do have a preference, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it would be very interesting if Fianna Fáil went in with Sinn Féin and perhaps also either the Labour Party or the Social Democrats. I think that would be interesting because many of the younger crowd, basically under 34s, have voted for Sinn Féin, and their problems are very different to the people who voted for, who are more comfortable, who have housing, who voted Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. So in a way, I guess if it's, as I'm afraid I think it will be, a Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, in a way it encourages a degree of detachment and disenfranchisement by the younger crowd whose problems are particularly housing. So I think that is a lost opportunity.
Why is your default position that it's bad news? Because I mean, obviously, you know, if you look at the outcome of the election, there's a lot of people that are obviously content with the current government. I mean, it was a significant endorsement of their time in government together.
Yes, and indeed one of the points that was made on one of the programmes was that the outcome paralleled the exit poll where people were asked, right, how happy was their standard of living, the same or better or worse than it had been in the past. And roughly half said it was the same and roughly 13 to 15% it was better. So in a way, there are a group who are doing okay in terms of standard of living. But obviously, the issue of housing and people still stuck in their parents' bedroom and people paying 1,000, 2,000 euro to rent and people with good jobs unable to get somewhere to live and considering emigration. I mean, some of us remember and was it the 90s when last out was to turn out the light, you know, where there was fierce emigration of young people. I mean, the population even further back did go down at one stage in the 60s to 2.8 million. This is not a good possibility. So I just think it would be it would have a more rounded tone, a greater likelihood of a wide variety of interests being recognised if it was um, Fianna Fáil, Sinn Féin government. But Fianna Fáil, well, in a way, it's a defining moment for Fianna Fáil, because they have decided, they have said, now Micheál Martin has changed his mind before, but he has said he won't go in with Sinn Féin. So in a way, the consequences of going in with Fianna Fáil, it could be quite serious for Fianna Fáil in terms of their identity, in terms of their right leaning.
But just in relation to that, like at the end of the day, Fianna Fáil have been in government with Fine Gael for quite some time now, between confidence and supply and what have you, and yet they've come out as the biggest party. Micheál Martin is the highest approval rating. They've got the most seats. They've got a really strong mandate. Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil together are only one or two short of the majority that's needed themselves. So I mean, I can't. How could you judge that as anything other as a huge success, particularly for Fianna Fáil in the elections?
Well, I mean, Micheál Martin is Lazarus. That is all you can say. Like, he has come back from the dead so often. He has handled, I mean, in the debates, you have to give it to him. He handled himself extremely well. But it is, and in a way, like, I have no problem with the idea that the Civil War parties are coalescing. Do you know that this old antagonism that in practice there's relatively little between them, and recognising this is important. But I don't know. In the long run, I do think Fine Gael's position, that the confidence, Fine Gael providing confidence and supply doesn't seem to be on the table. They want parity. Well, hello, if you get 10 seats less, it's extraordinary.
Okay, let's see what Doreen has to say. Doreen, what do you think the new government should look like? What would you prefer it to look like?
Well, democracy being what it is, we have to look at the possibilities. So despite the fact that Sinn Féin did get a massive amount of seats and are placed second as a party, we in Fine Gael look to be going into government with Fianna Fáil, along with possibly, I thought originally maybe Labour, but Labour seem a bit indecisive in relation to where they want to go.
I think they only want to go in with the Social Democrats. I don't think they want to go in on their own.
Well, it's a pity they didn't have that organised before sort of Sherlock went on RTE there during the week and more or less sort of said they weren't going to go in, and yet their leader now seems to think that she could negotiate a few things. However, I personally think that a few independents are out there that are very much would be leaning towards the thinking of the coalition government. Sean Canning and Boxer Moore, who would have worked with us in 2016.
Does that not sort of lean towards a wee bit like parish pump politics, in that they'll come in with their wish lists, and money will be divvied out for their local areas for their support? Should we not be moving away from that? And then, if Labour have a mandate, all the Social Democrats have a mandate, get into government.
Do you not think Labour will be coming in with the same list, what they want, and a change in policies and a change in attitude? That is what politics is about. But the probability of people being in government, and despite, as Pat refers to there, the numbers and the seats that Sinn Féin have won, they're not going to be in government. And I cannot see Micheál Martin in any way going down that road, because he has said in the past that he will not be going down that road with Sinn Féin. And as regards...
but he also said he wouldn't go into government with Fine Gael. So I think Pat was alluding to the fact that, you can say one thing in the mouth of an election and do something afterwards.
Well, you see, it's really all to be played for in the next few weeks. And I think we have to give the parties that are there time to work out what is best for the country. And I know we, as probably people looking on, would love to think, when are you getting started? When are you getting in? But, we're talking about maybe late January, I would think, maybe just in time for the Senate elections as well. And that's the kind of timetable we should be looking at. And let's give them a bit of space to sit and see what they see as their priorities, because all of them, no matter who's in government, are going to have to change their manifesto slightly. They're going to have to look at what they wanted, but then the wish list will have to come from each party. I don't think that that Michael Martin is like Lazarus, Pat. I'm enjoying that comment because he has been very strong in government with Fine Gael and has stayed with his party, and he has been, to me, a steady force in the last 4.5 years, along with Leo, who decided to move aside when the time was right for him. So I'm not sure.
Pat, do you want to come back on that before I bring Ben in?
Absolutely. I meant that he has come back from really extremely amazing situations. Like, he was Minister for Health way back. He was very much responsible for the crash. He was, like, when Fianna Fáil collapsed, Micheál Martin's hand was in it. And yet, in a way, like, he seems the sober elder statesman now, and certainly came across that way in the
Yeah, I think it was more of a compliment than not a compliment, but a recognition of his achievement rather than a negative, indeed.
Brilliance.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, like, Lazarus was Lazarus did come back from the dead. I'm not shit out on my Bible, but I know that, and he was a normal man, So in a way, it was a compliment and a recognition of the extraordinary resilience.
Okay, stay there. Pat is in studio with me. Ben's in studio with me, Ben Harkin. Your reflections on what you would like to see put together by this newly elected group of individuals?
I think it'll be a Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael government. I suppose as well, I was thinking that Labour were going to be in there as well, just to maybe give the government a bit of space, But I think that I don't know if Labour now will be as solid. I think the fact that Marie Sherlock has said they shouldn't go in, that Aidan O'Riordan has said they shouldn't go in, I think that would raise the idea that maybe, if would they decide maybe with a couple of years to go, will we have a heave, will we pull down this government maybe, so that what happens to the Greens doesn't happen to them.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the Independents, I think once you get them on side and I suppose agree to what their wish list will be, I think that they will stay the term.
So you're saying if you agree with a group of independents, you might lose one or two along the way, but you can survive and bring more in. But if you go in with a party like Labour, they have you in a corner potentially in terms of bringing the government down.
I think so. Yeah, like, listen, them independents will still be there, if you needed. But I think that Labour, just the way that they seem to be split at the minute, and the way that even their 8 priorities that they've brought in, like one of them was to build a state construction company. Like, that seems like a massive, I don't know if that is a red line, but it seems like a massive one for a party on 9 seats to be coming in, in negotiation. So I think they're kind of looking now for excuses maybe to say we would, only, you're not agreeing to this.
As a younger person, how optimistic are you now looking ahead with this, with Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil in power for the next 5 years?
I think this has been a very good government for the last 5 years, and I think it's going to continue to deliver. I think that one thing in this election was that Sinn Féin weren't as strong on housing. I think people are saying that this government, that although we have a lot to do, there is a lot to do, I think this government is getting there. I think the big changes.
As a young person, I'm not trying to be tricky, but as a young person, what has been done for you over the last 5 years?
Well, I think a lot of young people are looking at housing. I think housing's a big thing, even if you're not right now looking for housing. It's something you're focused on in the future. And I think people are seeing that there's a real change in momentum in housing. We're seeing so much get built, and I think people are maybe a bit wary of Sinn Féin's. So Sinn Féin have, I suppose, the plan where they're going to really reduce the price, but that means that the price of land isn't included in it, which is I suppose a new idea, and you need a lot of new ideas. But I don't think that idea clicked with people. Maybe as well as they thought, and I think that people are happy now to stay the course. And I think this government is delivering on housing, and I think the next one will as well.
So you believe this government is delivering on housing in Donegal?
I think that there's.
I'm only asking us the words come out.
No, yeah, no, 100%. No, well, listen, there's more housing being built than there was. There's such a long way to go, especially in Donegal, because Donegal has the problem of Micah as well. I think we all know that there. I suppose you're saying, will this government fix it? I think that, there has been an improvement, and I think there will be in the next government as well. That, of course, not, we're far from perfect. There's so much to be done, but I think this government is the one that's going to get there.
Do you mourn the loss of the Greens, Doreen?
I think they had an agenda when they came into government, and they moved things along very well. However, the way Europe and the way all the other parties are at the moment, everybody has an agenda on issues to do with, what the Greens were pushing forward. And I think it was maybe the way that they portrayed their message was what was wrong, and that there's a lot of issues there that annoyed a lot of people, and they took the brunt of that.
But do you think they achieved anything in government?
I thought they were a good partner to be in with in government. Yes, I do think they have made people in Ireland more aware of issues that are relevant, and promoted greenways and cycling, and that to me would be the most positive things, and got us thinking about climate change, and did have a very positive impact on the last government. But their message, the way they sold it to me, didn't go down well, and that's why they didn't achieve. I think maybe as well as they should have in government this time.
Yeah, Pat O'Connor, I'm genuinely struggling to come up with something that the Greens have sort of left as their legacy, with just Roderick O'Gorman left. I'm not being smart, but I'm just thinking in terms of the electric car charging infrastructure, the uptake in terms of retrofits and what have you. No offshore wind, no real way to store the onshore wind that we generate. I'm just thinking I'm trying to think of things that they've actually pulled off over their time. Maybe I'm having a brain fart.
I mean, I do think they have improved, although it's still very poor local transport. They certainly have increased the number of cycle lanes around Dublin. Now, whether you think if you're a cyclist, this is wonderful. If you're a car driver, it's frustrating. I do think they were treated shamefully by their coalition partners coming up to the election, like really. I mean, in a way, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, they have effectively behaved so badly by everything that was bad. The negative consequences was overtly blamed on the Greens, and everything was good was down to the government. I mean, I do worry about this bill of 20 billion if we don't make our targets. Do you know? I mean, this is a total waste of money.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back to that 20 billion bill, because it is quite significant, and it really potentially could or should have an impact on spending and plans going forward. So stay with me. I'll come back to both, not both, there's three of them, Professor Pat O'Connor, Ben Harkin and Doreen Sheridan Kennedy, after we take these messages.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today. Are you ready for a cozy night watching the toy show? Get festive with 50% of all Christmas decor at Homeland Letterkenny. Save 50% on Christmas trees, lights, baubles, gifts and more. Shop in store and online at homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available. Save 50% while stocks last.
Join David James and the Outside Broadcast team this Friday for the Jive Time live from Century Complex, Letterkenny, for the launch of their brand new indoor Crazy Golf. Test your skills with the Crazy Golf, AR darts and shuffleboard, now open and ready to play 7 days a week. We will have exclusive giveaways on the day, so join us from 2:30 live from Century Complex this Friday.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Christmas table linen is all half price. That's right, half price. But better hurry, because when all the half-price Christmas table linen is gone, it's gone. Also, all barware accessories, Cassia Living giftware and Christmas tree lights are still all half-price. But when all the half-price barware accessories, Cassia Living giftware and Christmas tree lights are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Hi, I'm at the Garda station, but it's nothing. I told this girl I was seeing for a while that I'd put shots of her up online. Shots she sent me, so they're mine, really. I only said I'd do it, but the guards are saying that's a crime now. It's not my fault, Mum. I didn't do anything. I only said I would.
Threatening to share intimate images is a crime with serious consequences. Contact your local Garda station if you need to report it. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Dancing this Friday night, the 6th of December at the Clanry Hotel in Letterkenny with Jerry Guthrie and his band. Special guests David James and Elaine Boyle. Doors open at 9 p.m. Admission €20.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
It's 9:22. So as you heard Pat O'Connor mention just before this break, the state could face a cost of €20 billion if it fails to achieve reductions in carbon emissions by 2030. According to an assessment by Watchdog, the watchdog which advises on public finances. The figure is far higher than a previous estimate of about 8 billion from the Climate Change Advisory Council. In its latest report, the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council said lower estimates assumed Ireland would follow through on measures that it looks increasingly unlikely to implement now. Pat, I'll put it to you, maybe. Would you agree there is a strong argument to invest more now in the likes of retrofitting, electric car infrastructure, helping people actually transition to electric vehicles, if indeed that's the future, to help reduce our carbon footprint? Because we're going to have to do that anyway and potentially pay €20 billion in fines from 2030 onwards.
Yes, I'm not sure. I'm frozen.
No, I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Just carry on. Yes, continue.
Well, I think, for example, retrofit, there are a number of problems in different areas. I don't think simply electric cars are the solution, but certainly we need to meet our emissions. And it looks as if, like this, we're now almost at 2025. The deadline is 2030. So we need to kind of up our game, at a whole load of different levels. And I'm not confident that that's one of the problems where the Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will do that by 2030, because quite honestly, it's against the vested interests of some sectors of society. And so in a way, if you're keeping together a coalition with independents, then the 2030 can appear to be a very long way away.
Yeah, also too, if you're going in with rural independence potentially as well, I mean, obviously there might be a pushback in certain measures you might try and introduce. Ben Harkin, an author, also had his hat in the ring at a time to run for Fianna Fáil in this county, just to be absolutely clear. Ben, you, what, I mean, it would make sense surely, wouldn't it? Because we're going to have to pay the fines, then we're going to have to try and catch up. We need to spend now, don't we, to try and reduce the amount of fines that it seems we may have to pay.
100%. And I think one of the failures of the Greens in government, and Barry Cowan of Fianna Fáil was very clear on this, I think that Eamon Ryan's portfolio was too large. So he was the Minister for Energy, the Minister for Communications and the Minister for Transport. I think that, energy just comes into every single cost that, that we pay, the businesses pay. And I think that that's actually where a lot of our problem is, that if you can figure out the energy part, then the decarbonising from that there flows into a lot of other sectors then. The problem is that we don't have the infrastructure that can actually enable our energy to move around the country. And I think that has to be a focus to get that there over the line. Airgrid want to get it done. It's now about making sure that there can move through the planning process quickly to get the energy that we produce in Kerry and Mayo and Donegal around other counties that need it.
I just remember talking, in 2019, 2021, sort of about the fact that we're still talking, right? You know what I mean? What are we doing to actually implement? And it still seems to me, in terms of actually trying to address, and we have to meet these targets while part of the EU. That's just the facts. We're still talking. We're still in talking mode here, and we seem to be heading into another 5 years of talking, rather than actual sort of meaningful action.
Well, I think that energy part is very important. We're generating a massive amount of energy from renewables. I think, the electric car thing, it does, again, that comes into, Eamon Ryan, who's the Minister for Transport. I just don't understand how we could have fallen so far behind on, our EV charging points. I think it's just
But I've done
crazy.
3 interviews on 20 millions being spent to improve the infrastructure, but it never arrived. Where did that money go? I'd love to know where that money went.
Yeah, well, a lot of the problem is, and you see that in sort of government commitments, is that the money doesn't actually go anywhere. It's the fact that, these things get caught up in so much planning and so much red tape that the money just actually doesn't get spent. And I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem that's affecting every problem that we have, whether it's people trying to build houses or whether it's, the massive infrastructure projects we want to build as well.
Doreen, we can't, as I said to Ben there, the time for talking is over. If we're going to take this seriously, whichever makeup of government is in for the next 5 years, they're going to have to come up with actual plans.
I don't doubt that Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will work on the whole issue of climate change and what best to deliver that. And I think they've been doing that in the past as well. But to me, the issue, being a pensioner myself and feeling myself that I can't access the grants that are available because I don't fall into a category, and I don't, You know, so there's a lot of people out there in reality who probably would love to be having the solar heat and would love to be having all of these things, but accessibility, I think, is very difficult for a lot of people in that regard. The whole idea, as young Ben has said there, in relation to the cars, is, I don't know, as a county, you see, we take time and we just take our time as people to come around to different things because of maybe where we are geographically. We just don't agree with maybe things that are put to us, in particular in relation to the fuel. I think it's the fuel which put a lot of people off. For our people in Donegal to be told they can't be buying or selling or taking turf was a huge issue, caused lots of upset, because if you live out the country and you have a bog and that's your method of fuel, because you don't want to pay big prices for oil and you don't want to pay big prices for coal, well then turf is your main means of doing things. But I think that at present all parties really are very aware of these bills, and you know, financially the past government have left good funds available due to different reasons, maybe not all their own, but that we'll have to deal with that. And you talked there, Greg, about 8 million going up to 20 million. And that's what it's like when you're talking about maybe the price of the Children's Hospital, the price of the development of Illustrated School since first it was mooted has gone up, you know, likewise. It's just the reality of life. The cost of things have got dearer.
But Pat O'Connor, I mean, the bottom line is whichever government is in place, you know, you can't have an urban solution to a rural problem either, for an example. So they're going to have to come up with a different way to approach the transition, aren't they, surely? Because that's the only way you're going to get buy-in.
But it is actually 20 billion, right, of a fine.
Yeah.
This is a lot of money. This is effectively like 10 children's hospitals. Do you know? That is the amount we could be fined. So I suppose I'm thinking, you know, amongst the rural independents, Michael Lowry, you know, going to be really concerned about the future? I'm just picking out Michael Lowry, you know. The rural independents are interested in the farmers. The farmers only dropped the use of fertilizer because it got too expensive. You know, with the Ukraine war, that's why there was a reduction in the use of fertilizer for a couple of years. It got too expensive. In a way, I don't think a whole load of sectors have really bought in to the idea of climate change. Yes, there's an airy feeling that, you know, it would be a grand thing, but people are not willing to make changes, and different sectors. I mean,
but even just in terms of us, it's actually about affording it. Like, I would love solar panels on my roof. I'd love the latest, greatest insulation. I'd love triple glazed windows. But the money simply is not there for it.
And in a way, like equally, even doing up dilapidated buildings, the government haven't really absorbed the idea that, you know, expecting people who want to do up dilapidated buildings to pony up the money first and then get it back. You know, there isn't a real appreciation of the actual constraints on people's pockets and people's situations, and I suppose I do think.
But just you see, this is the problem, right? And I think you referenced this a little bit earlier on, Pat. It's about inclusivity, right? It's about, in Donegal, the 80% of people that voted that didn't, the 70% of people in Donegal that didn't vote Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, that maybe those are the ones that can't afford to retrofit the homes, or never will, or can't afford to transition to an electric car. You know what I mean? Like, it's important that no one is left behind.
Yes, and certainly, I mean, this is where I think electric cars, giving grants to people who, now the price of electric cars has gone down, but giving grants to people who are able to pay 50,000 for electric car, you know, hello, you know, that seemed very strange.
All right, some comments. Another 5 years of nice headlines with no substance behind it, says a listener. I'm sure others would disagree. What I seriously can't understand is, why do they sign up to these agreements when they know full well that they'll not meet the targets? They don't stand their ground and say that it's impossible for us to reach them, not putting their own country needs first, but want to play with the big boys at the cost of big fines and cost to the Irish people. But if you play in a club like the EU, what can you do? Morning all, I don't see any improvement in housing in Donegal under the current government. Very little rentals available, no student accommodation, increased costs of rent. The only people making money are landlords. Rents have more than doubled in the last 10 years. Have the landlords' costs doubled? Ask your panel, what is the percentage of carbon in the atmosphere? What happens when we get to net zero carbon, and what does that mean? Net zero, go below 2%, all plant life dies. We breathe carbon. Does that mean do not bring in more migrants or nitrates? It's a mixture of the two words. I think Fianna Fáil should talk to all parties, as there is so little between them. They've no right to ignore a good part of the voting public. There's this thing about that the carbon, the fumes that we're releasing into the world are the same naturally occurring fumes, which they're different. The Greens put more tax on people than any other party in government. Keep burning the turf, I say. Go after the big industrial offenders. Any representatives from Sinn Féin on today, Greg? Well, the panel has different representations different weeks. Sometimes it seems more lean towards the opposition than it might be to government parties and vice versa. But in the round, we try and keep it balanced over the course of a number of shows. How can the young fellow say it was a good government with the state of health, housing and homelessness? How myopic can he be? God help us. Ben, I think that you're the young fella, unless they're talking about me.
I don't think there'll be any votes in that house for me in the future now.
Okay. Another one for you. Are you for real? He's definitely not in touch with the real world. Same old mantra on housing, not clued in at all. And I think that's just the sense that people don't feel the houses that you're talking about. But look, it's not personal. Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
The news today, basically, that the Mercosur deal looks as if it might be back on the table. This is going to be a challenge.
You couple that with the government saying yesterday that the nitrates derogation is going to be phased out, and the European market being flooded with Brazilian beef. It's not a good day or a good couple of days for the Irish farming community potentially.
Yeah. If I could come
of course,
in there,
Doreen, go ahead.
Greg.
Thanks.
I just feel the farmers get an awful lot of blame, and the farming community is finding it difficult and has found it difficult. So I think we have to be very careful. But in fairness to our governments and to our county councils over the years, I remember years ago delegations going out to Europe, because Europe are way ahead of us in relation to a lot of issues, in relation to climate, in relation to recycling, reusing. And I remember a team, I think Sean Maloney was part of it, going out to Germany and watching what's going on. So we are well behind in relation to what they're doing in Europe in relation to that. And therefore our European MPs need to be working in relation to that and trying to have a more gradual progression for us to be reaching those targets, rather than expecting us to be there by the 30, as was mentioned earlier.
Yeah, but even I mean, like one example of that is the nitrates derogation, where we are one of two countries in Europe that achieved that, but it's gonna be phased out. So that's how it feels, Doreen, when we do get discompensation.
Well, actually, that young fella Ben is more up to date on what's going on there than I am in relation to that climate thing. And it's a thing that we're not educated well on. And perhaps we need to look into the county council and to the government to be providing more information for us, to be more informed in relation to all of this. But because it's not a sector that possibly I'm familiar with. But, I have to give credit to that young fella, and I think it's fabulous to see a young man on the panel, regardless of where he's representing. I think it's wonderful, and I wouldn't like criticism coming in because that young fella he has a clue. He's very tuned in.
He is, but he's not
12
so either.
I know, I'm well able to take it. Thanks, I appreciate that.
I appreciate you coming over 8-12. All right, we'll be back with more after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Stay warm for less with your local Homeland this winter. Homefire Fire Gold Smokeless Fuel, buy 10 bags, get 1 free. Cozy Home Fire Log, buy 3 for €5. Hardwood Logs, buy 2 bags for €12. All this and more. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie. Local and nationwide delivery available.
Join Paul McDevitt and the Highland Radio Outside Broadcast team this Saturday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. for a live broadcast from Eclipse Cinema, Lifford Strabane. Enjoy exciting prizes, giveaways, and learn all about the dine and screen experience across all 7 studios. Plus, get 10% off their gift vouchers.
Farm incomes forecast to rise in 2025. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, as beef and lamb prices boom, latest Teagasc data shows farm incomes set to recover. Suckler scheme money on the way to 20,000 farmers. BIS and ANC balancing payments hit accounts. Exclusive machinery guide with all the 2025 specs and price information you need to know. Up to 20% extra slurry storage needed on dairy farms. Plus, how to celebrate Christmas without overspending. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Get into the Christmas spirit with the help of McElhenny's department store. From the moment you walk through the door, our staff are ready to help you find everything on your list with ease. From Secret Santa presents to thoughtful gifts for all the family. Shop online now or visit us in-store to experience the true magic of Christmas at McElhenny's.
Burglars are now doing their Christmas shopping. And guess what? They might just be calling with you. Install a wire-free burglar alarm from Sheridan Security Systems before December 31st and get 6 months round-the-clock monitoring free. Contact us today on 912-6025 for a free quotation. Have a peaceful Christmas with Sheridan Security.
Every Tuesday morning on Highland Radio, we'll be joining Freya and Colin for Clarissa Carr as we catch up with them for some Can Sugus crack on the way to school.
This Tuesday, they will be chatting about Turas Hagen Doctor, agus be Jessica for couple of focal usage freshen. So be Lynn, Margin March and Shaw Air Highland Radio.
Do Gu do Station, Highland Radio.
Clarissa Carr, Arna Winu, a commission na man, leis an Talia Cadanish Telefisha.
Morning, Greg. I think it's very disrespectful of Micheál Martin and Simon Harris to not talk to Sinn Féin. In order to reach peace in Northern Ireland, everyone talk to each other. They don't have to go into government with them, but they should have respect for everyone. To come out and publicly say they won't even talk to them is arrogance, to say the least. Greg, should it be made public what any smaller party shakes the government down for in form of a coalition? I think I think the public, it's the public's money, and I think any deals that are done, it should be, I think it should be made public. Hi, says a listener, can't understand how Charlie McConalogue didn't get into the 12th count. It was on a surplus votes of Pierce Doherty, yet Fianna Fáil won't go into government. Am I wrong? Thanks. Well, the votes move around the place, so who they're transferred from doesn't necessarily mean that you got the votes from them, if that makes sense. A caller says 100% Sinn Féin is the party that should be going into government with Fianna Fáil. Fine Gael should not. I agree with Professor Pat. Aren't you great people talking about saving the planet for the rest of us? I never listened to such scuther in all my life. A lot of wee mini gods running around the place. But I get where that person's coming from, but there is just a reality. I mean, a global reality that everyone's thinking along the same lines. Morning, Greg. Who do we pay this 20 billion to? Surely tell whoever it is to get stuffed. Well, it's part of the agreement. We don't actually. We have to pay it to countries that have achieved their targets, and it's effectively buying credits from them. And because there's a few countries that are going to meet their targets, Germany aren't, France aren't. We're going to have to pay more for these credits from the countries that have achieved their goals, and it's called a fine, but that's effectively what is going to happen. There's one more I wanted to reference here as well. It was from a lady pulling me up, so when someone's given that to me, I want to read them as well. Where was it, effectively? What she was saying is that I wrote Charlie McConalogue off ahead of the elections. Her name was Helen, but I've lost it. I'll come back to it, I'll find it. No, I can't find it. Right. Go ahead. Yes, Doreen.
Well, I'm not sure about the comment coming in from someone there about people being many gods. Fine Gael as a party, I was asked to come on because someone else wasn't available, and that's the way it is in community. You help out, and I do think that Highland is a community radio, so that's why I offered to go on this morning. But I just as you say, you don't know where the votes come from and why Charlie McConnell took to be the 5th seat. Last time around, Joe McHugh was part of that as well. And there were 3 people that were elected on the last count because they didn't reach the quota, and that was coming as a former minister as well. So, you can analyse all you want on the possibility and probability of people being in government, and Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil will not be speaking to Sinn Féin because they're not in tune with what they believe, and that's their right. And now the possibility of Sinn Féin doesn't look good going into government. And, we referenced the housing earlier on. I am highly amused at the comments in the Derry People by Paddy Diver asking for a member of our party not to be criticised in relation to her comments when he himself was party to a huge onslaught of criticism of the minister and Inishowen. And though he himself seems to be telling people not to take part in the MICA and what's been given by the government in relation to the schemes, himself and the fellow who wrote the document in relation to housing for them are now building their own houses. So I just question, he's one message for one and one for another.
I don't know how you got to that, but anyway, that's fine. I didn't hear all of that, but so Helen said, Greg, listening to the repeat of the 9 till noon show tonight, and again, I'm amazed at your comments re the election. You said you did not suggest that Charlie McConnell would lose his seat. That's totally contrary to what you said on air on Sunday from the Aura. You said you gave Caroline a piece of paper with the names on who you thought would be elected, and if my memory serves me right, and it does, the dates you said was the 18th of November. You are correct. You said 2 Sinn Féin, Pat the Cope, Pringle and Ward. Listen to the playback on Sunday's broadcast, fairly late into the broadcast. Or ask Caroline. No, I know what it said. Do you forget what you say on air? You talk so much, but listening is better. I also felt that the team did not provide a good service. But then they give out that we walked out whilst the speeches were taking place. RTE and TG Cahir were respectful and didn't pack up. Well, listen, we were there for 37 hours at that stage, and I make no apologies for the team respectfully departing. They were speaking to their supporters anyway. No, so what I said was from the Aura, my prediction was that I gave to Caroline, and this was just based on what I thought the people would say, was Pearse Doherty, Pádraig McLaughlin, Charles Ward, Pat the Cope, and then I had Thomas Pringle and Charlie McConnell on fighting out for the last seat. That was the prediction that I gave to Caroline on the 18th, and that was exactly what happened on the day. Previously on the show, though, I had said that I was confident that in the end of the day that Charlie McConnell would get in. So that's it. Right, okay. Not that it all really matters, but just thought I'd mention that. Let me see. There was another question that I wanted to put to our panel here. Yeah, it's in relation to the electoral register. Pat, how concerned are you that there's 500,000 people potentially on the register that shouldn't be on it? I don't think it affects the outcome of it. It might affect the turnout number, but it's really down to people who are deceased, sadly, who are still on the register. And there's a lot of people seem to get 2 voting cards. It needs to be tidied up, but I don't think any way it can be seen to have influenced the outcome of the election.
It needs to be tidied up. I cannot understand what the big deal is about tidying it up. Like, in a way, there is such a thing as AI. There are 32 local councils. In a way, the local authorities, in a way, like actually just tidying it up it should not be a big, expensive job, and I just think somebody's lining themselves up for another bike shed come security hut expenditure, and really anybody who has integrated lists, it's not rocket science. You have names, addresses, air codes, and if they're duplicated, take them out, you cross-reference. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it just seems so pathetically inept, I'm afraid, is my immediate response. Of course it should be done.
And Ben, we have this conversation every year, just before the election, just after the election. We've 4 or 5 years now if the government runs full term. Surely now's the time to tidy it up and sort it out, because at the very least it sort of gives the impression that there's more voter apathy out there than there actually is.
Yeah, and I was actually reading this morning in the Journal, Theresa Reedy in University of Cork says actually it could be 600,000. So maybe people just keep adding it on now. But so in the last government, we seen the Electoral Commission brought in, and I think that there's a proactive commission that redrew boundaries. It reduced the moratorium the day before an election, which I think was positive. So I think they've now put in for October 26th. I don't know, is that to complete or to begin this project? But I think what they're going to do is they're going to have one central database that local councils are going to feed into. So the local councils are still going to be involved, which I think is important, but they're going to feed into it. Whereas the minute these don't speak to each other, so, you know, if I go to Galway, you know, I move to Galway, then, you know, the Donegal County Council don't know about that and they keep me in the register. Now I'm on two places, you know, so having a central database will sort this. I think that commission has a lot to do in terms of, will they have a referendum to keep the same amount of TDs, things like that there. So I think that's one of the things they have to do.
I think part of the problem is though that it's very much reliant on the voter to say, I've moved to Galway, or for the family of someone who's deceased to say, the person has passed away, or if you're getting 2 voting cards to ring up and say, excuse me, I'm getting 2 voting cards.
Yeah.
That's it's not going to work. Pat, you look perplexed. So I can't hear.
Anybody who has created an index knows that if it occurs, if you basically set up a program, that if the name occurs with the air code twice, it's duplication, you know. And the whole cross-referencing anybody who dies, there has to be a death cert. I'm afraid I really think this making a meal of integrating just, 30, 35 records into one central whatever, honestly, it's not a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah. Doreen, we all want it sorted, don't we?
Yeah. Can I come in there, Greg?
No, I'm asking you. Yeah, we all want it sorted.
No, I think Pat's right on that. There are agencies out there that should pull together and should get this done. But from being out at counts and listening to people and all, there is a different type of people voting. I found coming into the booths, and I found it was good to see that a lot of people had got a vote that hadn't got it the last time. I met 2 or 3 Scottish people who didn't realise they could vote in this. Now they couldn't vote in referendums and they couldn't vote in the presidential election. So I was glad to see that there was knowledge out there about people who could vote as well. But political parties, you see as well, aren't as involved. Years ago, you would be scrutiny. There'd be a great scrutiny on a polling thing for a booth, and you would know who everything was. That isn't happening anymore. There's not the same interest out there, so I'm not sure where it lies, but I'm with Pat in that there are agencies out there, and really it should be done. It could be done. There's no reason why it could be done, other than the fact that they'll tell you there's no staff available to do it. That seems to be a huge issue at the moment, staff to do the work 2 days a week and all this here. We need this dealt with before the next election, and there'll be the presidential election will be the next one. And that won't be as difficult, but it still means that there are people out there that are on the register that shouldn't be there. But then by the same token, if you have some of your family who are abroad, I personally won't be taking my children off the register because they come and they go, and therefore they're entitled to stay on the register, because that's one of the things you look at in years to come. What if you're on the register, you're entitled to this? So there's a lot of wee questions and wee things there that need to be addressed.
All right, okay. Now I didn't fully hear your comments there, just in relation to Paddy Diffie. Roisin messaged in though to say, Greg, I wrote the document too, along with Paddy and Michael. I too am rebuilding my home for my family. Paddy's not telling people not to engage in the scheme. He's always said people need to go ahead to get out of this nightmare if they possibly can, but absolutely nobody can access the scheme if they don't have the money to access or access to loans, which many, many people do not. I find it appalling, the sympathy going towards poor Charlie. We homeowners have been shown extreme disrespect and have been gaslit and bullied for years. That seems to be okay with some people. We're innocent people and our families are suffering beyond belief. The lack of understanding is unbelievable, says the listener there.
Sorry, Greg. It's not a lack of understanding on my part. I just brought the topic up in relation to that. I find it ironic that he was critical of other people when he's been critical himself of people. That's in those contexts I said that. Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Greg, can I come in just
yes, of course you can.
Just
take your time. Go ahead.
When we're talking about the Electoral Commission and we're talking about 500,000, 600,000. I think that a number for me that's important in this is 4,200, and that's the amount of eligible voters in South Donegal that still don't have a vote in Donegal. And the Electoral Commission, they done a review of the constituencies. They looked at Donegal, and I just don't understand how they kept it the same. I think those people are really in sort of a no man's land, and I think that there's maybe an apathy there that maybe they don't feel they're entitled.
I'm
constituency.
from there. It's the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah,
because you can't vote in elections in your own county, and you're voting for people who from South Sligo, East Sligo, West Sligo.
I just don't understand how they could have looked at Donegal and kept that. Like, I know there was, part of their review that was meant to be about trying to restore county borders back into it, and I think that's something that, as well as sorting the registrar and as well as maybe having a referendum in TDs, that there needs to be a look at Donegal as well.
Well, Pat, Caller points out quite interestingly that if the register is 600k over, that means there are too many TDs, and they say there's your reason, which is quite interesting, isn't it? Because the number of the TDs is based on... Sorry, do you want to come in, Ben?
It's based on the census, actually, as far as I'm aware. It's not based on the electoral register. It's not based on the electoral register.
Okay. Fair enough. Good. Right, okay, listen... That is us out of time. Pat O'Connor, listen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's been lovely having you on the show as always. Take care. Doreen, Sheridan Kennedy, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks
Have a lovely weekend. Take care. And Ben, thank you for calling up. Ben, you're not giving up on the possibility of elected politics?
Well, we'll see at some point in the future. I think people know that that's something I'm definitely interested in, so we'll see down the line.
All right, well, it's been nice having you in. Ben Harkin there.
Thanks very much, Craig.
Okay, back with more after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Cockhill Celtic and Carrandona football clubs present their grand draw, where someone will win €200,000 on New Year's Day. Tickets are €100 and the draw is limited to 8,000 tickets. To get a full list of prizes or purchase your ticket, go to www.200kfornewyearsday.com. Alternatively, contact a club member or call into a local shop.
Make your festive gatherings simply better with Dunn Stores. Serve exclusively selected wines from around the world, now 20% off. Mix and match 3 for 2 on a range of Irish farmhouse and continental cheeses, as well as selected Spanish and Italian charcuterie meat. And treat guests to our Simply Better organic Irish smoked salmon. All made even better with a 10 off 50 grocery voucher. Dunn Stores. Make Christmas simply better. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used in the next grocery shop at €50 or more. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
Thinking about upgrading your car? Pre-order your brand new Kia now with iMotors. We're offering one lucky customer a chance to win €10,000 when they pre-order with iMotors. Avail of 0% finance and a free home charger on selected vehicles. Grab a €500 super value voucher and 7 years warranty. Visit iMotors today and upgrade your car.
iMotors. Fearless generation. You can hope, touch wood, wave to that magpie, but sometimes, no matter how many umbrellas you refuse to open indoors, things happen. And if they happen, you should know what we do. We are the Injuries Resolution Board, the independent and impartial state body that resolves personal injury claims in Ireland. We use the exact same guidelines as the courts to calculate compensation, and on average, we resolve cases 2 years faster, saving time and money. Find out more at injuries.ie. And fingers crossed, you'll never need us.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
So, Storm Dara will bring wet and very windy weather today. Rain will be widespread and will be heavy at times, possibly causing localised flooding. Some sleet's also possible on hills, and there is a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Very strong and gusty south-west winds will develop during the afternoon and evening. Highest temperatures of 8 to 11 degrees. So we all have to be careful out there, no doubt, today. Now it's your last chance to win a wonderful prize. It's a €130 in value package from the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa. It's their luxurious 2.5-hour spa package. It includes an aromatic steam session and cocoon room, a hot towel, foot and back cleanse, a stress relieving back massage, a Yonka facial with face and scalp massage, a pressure point foot massage, and snooze room relaxation time with refreshments. So that's the prize. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is to enter the free competition. And the question is, which Christmas song mentions a one-horse open sleigh? Is it A, Jingle Bells, or is it B, White Christmas? Just text or WhatsApp your answer, name and address to 08660 25000 and you could win that today. We've had a wonderful response to this all week, and all of those who have entered go into our draw drum, and one winner will be drawn and announced between 11 and 12, and it very easily could be you. Just send us a WhatsApp. It's free for you. Which song features the line, a one-horse open sleigh? Is it Jingle Bells, A, or B, White Christmas? Okay, back with more after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Celebrate Christmas with a festive feast at La Paba Restaurant, Letterkenny. Join us on December 13th, 14th, 20th or 21st for a delicious 3-course meal. Enjoy starters like smoked salmon galati, mains such as beef cheek or pan-fried cod, and indulgent desserts like sticky toffee pudding, all for just €45 per person. Bring your own bottle, no corkage fee. To book, visit La Paba Restaurant, Letterkenny's Facebook page or call in for more information.
Discover a new standard in healthcare at Greenview Medical Centre, Letterkenny. For routine checkups or urgent concerns, Greenview Medical Centre offers children's consultations, referrals, prescriptions and specialised male and female healthcare. Don't wait to get the care you deserve. Book now at greenviewmedicalcentre.ie or call 074 920 2070. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Greenview Medical Centre, Riverside Retail Park, Letterkenny. A new health horizon.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and at Home Store and More, we've everything you'll need to make merry for sure. From twinkling lights and festive decor to cosy throws, we've got it and more. Choose from our extensive range of half-price Christmas tree lights to light up your home blue or bright or glowing warm white. And a Christmas tree, or maybe even 2, will make your home feel even more right. Enjoy Christmas. Visit us in store, shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Bridgend Bureau de Change is now open at Rafferty Circle K Station, Bridgend. For all your euros, sterling and dollars, contact Bridgend Bureau de Change at Circle K Bridgend. Planning cross-border shopping this Christmas? Call into Circle K Bridgend Bureau de Change for all your currency needs. Authorised and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Have you got your tickets for the Highland Radio Christmas concert? Get ready for a night of great music on Monday, December the 9th in the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. You can enjoy an incredible lineup with Mike Denver and his band, John McNichol, Jim Devine, Donna Taggart, Owen Mack and me, David James. Get your tickets now at the outlet at highlandradio.com, Alexander's Bala Buffet, the Cope Dunlow, the Mount Erigal Hotel, Simpsons Bar Carndonagh, or give us a call on 074 91 25000. Don't miss this Christmas cracker.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. A senior Fine Gael official in Donegal says she believes a coalition involving her party, Fine Gael and like-minded independents is the most likely government to emerge from the talks which will get underway next week. On today's 9 till noon show, Doreen Sheridan-Kennedy said while Sinn Féin got a higher vote and seat share in last week's general election, the political reality means they're not likely to be involved in the next government. She also says the mixed messages emerging from the Labour Party means they're also unlikely to be taking part.
Democracy being what it is, we have to look at the possibilities. So despite the fact that Sinn Féin did get a massive amount of seats and are placed second as a party, we in Fine Gael look to be going into government with Fianna Fáil, along with possibly, I thought originally maybe Labour, but Labour seem a bit indecisive in relation to where they want to go. I personally think that a few independents are out there leaning towards the thinking of the coalition government.
A Midlands North West MEP has accused both the Taoiseach and the Taoiseach of talking out of both sides of their mouths. It's as European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen prepares to sign the Mercosur agreement. France, Poland and Austria have come out in opposition to the trade deal between the EU and the Mercosur bloc. Kieran Malooly says the silence from the Irish government is deafening.
We have to be more aggressive in our protestations. It seems to me Simon Harris and Micheál Martin are talking from both sides of the mouth here. They say they support Irish farmers, but secretly it seems to me the only conclusion we can draw is that they actually support the Mercosur deal and they're not vociferously objecting at European level, because there has been no indication or no sign of an Irish protest here in Brussels to this terrible news over the last 24 hours.
There are calls for a specific funding stream to be set up to fund much-needed bridge repairs across Donegal. Several bridges in the county are in a state of disrepair because of the lack of money available to fix them. The Onacaro Bridge in West Donegal was recently damaged after a car collided with it. A structural survey is now required to be carried out before funding can be sought. Councillor Michael McCafferty is calling for a review of how bridge repairs are funded.
Over 5,000 bridges/crossings you have here in the counties Donegal. That's a hell of a lot of maintenance alone, never mind trying to top of that then when issues arise now, walls getting doubled. It's all down to money, it's all down to funding. We can only work with the tools we have at the minute, and unfortunately we don't have a great set of tools, but I hope when the new government is formed here going forward, somehow achieve that to get a better position on bridges.
Donegal County Council is being urged to increase awareness of a grant available for people requiring an occupational therapist assessment. There is a huge backlog in OT waiting lists in the county, with some people waiting up to 6 months for an assessment. Councillor Paul Canning says there is an option for people available to avail of a private assessment and then subsequently claim back the costs. He said it would help reduce waiting lists, as well as ensuring that people's needs are met more quickly.
It would clear up a lot of the backlog, because I think the actual cost is about €400, and I think you can claim back about €300 or something along those lines. So there is a scenario that you can do that, and it might suit people to do that, because their needs are serious, and if they're going to get the disabled grant, they're better availing of the grant rather than come to a situation that they don't need it anymore.
NASA has announced further delays to its Artemis mission. The programme is looking to send astronauts back to the moon for the first time in more than 50 years. Liftoff has been pushed back to April 2026, 7 months later than originally planned, to allow for further works to the heat shield. And the entire country will be subject to a status orange wind warning from 10 o'clock tonight as a result of Storm Dara. It'll apply to Munster and Connacht from 8 o'clock this evening and run until 10 tomorrow morning. A yellow wind warning takes effect from 3 o'clock across the country, while a status yellow rain warning has now come into effect for a number of counties, including Donegal. Cathal Nolan from Ireland's Weather Channel says there will be damaging winds as a result of that storm.
We're looking at wind speeds in parts of the northwest later on tonight in exposed areas of coming in close to 160 kilometres per hour. So really quite phenomenally powerful winds, and it really can't be stressed enough that this is a very potent and dangerous storm.
And the weather forecast from Met Éireann just confirming Storm Dara will bring wet and very windy weather today. Rain widespread and heavy at times, possibly causing localised flooding. Some sleet possible on hills, with a chance of some isolated thunderstorms. Very strong and gusty south to southwest winds will develop during the afternoon and evening. Highest afternoon temperatures 8 to 11 degrees Celsius. And as Cathal said there in that audio clip, very strong, potentially damaging winds to be expected this evening and into tonight. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11. Check all of the latest news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notice is for this Friday morning, December the 6th. The death has taken place of Pat Donnelly, 16 McGurr Park, Strabane, and formerly of Newton Kennedy Street, Strabane, reposing at his home tonight from 8 o'clock. Fiona leaving his home on Sunday morning at 11:45 for Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmite at 12:30. Interment afterwards in Strabane Cemetery. Family time please from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. The funeral Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Mary Lee, née McIntyre, Convent Road, Milford, reposing at her home today from 12 noon until after the Rosary at 9 o'clock tonight. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Peter's Church, Milford, followed by interment in Milford Cemetery. House private please tomorrow morning. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The death has occurred of Maisie Sterrett, née Harris, Glasnevin, Dublin, and formerly of Kirkstown, Letterkenny. Funeral service tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock at Comwall Parish Church, Letterkenny, with burial afterwards in the family plot in Gortley Cemetery. The death has occurred of Joan McLaughlin, née Cummings, Kjol Namara, Carrow Doherty Avenue, Buncrana, County Donegal, formerly of Balbriggan, County Dublin. Remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 9:15 for 10 o'clock funeral mass in St Mary's Oratory, Buncrana, County Donegal, followed by burial afterwards in St Mary's Cemetery, Cockhill, Buncrana, County Donegal. Family time please from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Patients Comfort Fund at Buncrana Community Nursing Unit. The death has taken place of Henry George Rees, formerly of Milford and Ramelton. A memorial talk will be held tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, Letterkenny. Everyone welcome. The death has taken place of Francis O'Neill, Upper Main Street, Donegal Town. Funeral Mass this morning at St Patrick's Church, Donegal at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in Clare Cemetery. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu to coronary care, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of Faulkner Undertakers. Francis's Requiem Mass can be viewed on mcn.live. House private. And the death has taken place of Alfred John Alfie Vance Cross Carrigans. Remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral leaving from there tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, going to Monray Presbyterian Church for 2 o'clock service of Thanksgiving, followed by burial in the family plot in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu to the Alzheimer's Society, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, funeral director. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Christmas is better with Disney Plus, with festive favourites like Home Alone, Frozen.
Wait.
Deadpool?
Hi, Peanut. Let's give the people what they came for.
Make way for your new festive favourites like Deadpool and Wolverine.
Bingo.
A new Star Wars adventure in Skeleton Crew. And the raunchy new original series Rivals.
Oh, you're a very bad influence.
Christmas really is better with Disney Plus.
This is what I'm talking about.
All these and more streaming this Christmas. 18 plus subscription required. T's and C's apply.
Okay, you're welcome back to the second hour of the show. Seamus Gunn will be joining us soon with the legal slots, so stay for that. Some comments here on the way, though. On the subject of the voting register, it's a joke, really. How come if the social welfare, revenue, etc. input your PPS number, they know everything about you when someone turns 18, they should automatically go on the register. Another, Highland Radio's coverage of the second day of the count last Sunday on YouTube included a segment showing Charlie McConalogue having a difference of opinion with Greg. That segment appears to be removed. Who removed it and why? Well, you see, people always suspect that there's something going on. There isn't. YouTube, when you stream on YouTube, it stores 13 hours, and we were on air for 16 or 17 hours on both days. That's why. So it runs from the beginning for 13 hours and then it cuts off. No one removed it. And why would they remove it too? Charlie McConalogue had his view. He's of the opinion that I express an opinion too much. That's what he said. He's said it before. It's been said at many full meetings and all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. I don't mind that. I don't believe that to be the case, and that's true. And then I gave him this opportunity to say, I have no ill feeling against anyone or axe to grind or whatever. I'm just a radio presenter on pretty crappy money, not to be honest with you. I'm not a politician. I'm not a minister. I'm not a nothing, okay? So I'm not in any aggro with anyone. I just sit here and do the show. That's it. I have no ill feeling towards anyone. I have no politicians who are my friends. I don't speak to them off air. I have no political affiliation. Nothing like that there. What I tend to do is give a platform to people with issues that they have. That's what this show is. That's what Liveline is. That's what News Talk Breakfast is. That's what the Hard Shoulder is. That's it. I have no issue with anyone. I have, and I wasn't put in my place, and I never put anyone in the place. I was just sitting down there for 34 hours doing my job, and that's it. So no one cut it off. It's still, well, where would it still be? I think it must still be on Twitter. I don't know if Twitter limit how long they store the video for, but for Facebook, for YouTube, it's 13 hours. That's it. And we were on air for a long, long time. Greg, I think there should be longer notice given for the date of a general election. The notice of a few weeks is unreasonable for the smaller parties. I would agree with you, but also throw in there that I think a lot of people knew the election was coming on that date. I mean, obviously it was formally announced, and maybe something else kicks in for smaller parties that I'm missing here. But a lot of people knew it was coming, didn't they? So even though it wasn't formally announced, people in the north of Ireland should be able to vote in the presidential election, says a listener. That's a different one there altogether. Hello, Greg. About climate change, lots of communities have done a great job playing their part. We just need it coming from the top down. Government leadership, says the listener. Maybe that will be there over the next 5 years. In terms of the voters register, simply link it to the PPS number, or instead of paying someone thousands to sort it out, talk to the people on the ground, the postmen and women who officially send most of the polling cards back year in, year out, but no one updates the system. There could be 2 John Murphys living at the same air code, so it's not just as straightforward as Pat says. Definitely, there should be some way to cross-check with the death certs. Maybe something that could be done in the marriages, births and deaths offices when someone dies, that they remove them for the registry. But even when someone dies, you do have to jump through quite a lot of hoops, often in certain areas, to get organisations to recognise that. All right, now, just before the break, before Seamus joins us, from Monday, we're giving a grand away a day for 10 days on the trot. And then at the end of that, we're going to give away a car worth over €30,000. It's a Toyota Yaris Cross Luna. It's a beauty. It's in a lovely silver colour. It's got all mod cons, Apple and Android Play. It's a beautiful car. And that is going to be won before Christmas on the 23rd of December. If you've bought your tickets, good luck, you're in that draw. If you've already bought your tickets, well, we've stuck in 10 extra draws. Every single day, €1,000 will be given away from Monday on shows throughout the day here on Highland Radio. The reason I'm mentioning it is this is your last working day, effectively. Of course, you've got tomorrow and Sunday to buy a ticket. And obviously only buy a ticket if you can afford to and have a bit of fun with it, right? But the tickets are €15 each, or you can buy 5 for 50, so they're a tenner each effectively if you buy 5. And if you want to be in all 11 draws, the 1,000 by 10 and the 30 plus car, you're going to have to get your ticket today. And if you want to give us, if you want to get in touch with us now, you can give us a call here. Well, preferably, it's perfectly safe and secure. The website, highlandradio.com, you can buy your tickets there. But if you want to give us a call here at the radio station, we'll help you process that as well and get the ticket sent out to your email. 07491 25,000 is the telephone number here. Or if you're just dealing cash and you want to buy your ticket that way, call up to us here at the radio station during office hours and we can process that for you as well. But just to recap, and I don't want anyone to miss out, if you've already bought a ticket, you're in all 11 draws. Don't worry about that. Also, there's no rollover. There's no answering a phone call. Numbers are drawn, that number is associated with the name, and that person wins €1,000. So don't worry about that either. But if you want to be in all 11 draws, get your tickets today. highlandradio.com or call us right now on 07491 25,000 and we'll get you processed ASAP. And then you can sit back in the run up to Christmas, 1,000 Monday, 1,000 Tuesday, 1,000 Wednesday, 1,000 Thursday, and on it goes for 10 days. And on the final day then, we're giving away a beautiful Toyota Yaris Cross Luna worth over €30,000. You can come up and sit in it. It's yours on the 23rd of December, but we're going to stick it on nice new 251 plates for you in January, very early in January. And one of you out there is going to win the thousands, is going to win the car. It's all very exciting. So call us 07491 25,000. We'll get you sorted, or go onto the website highlandradio.com. Or if you're a cash person, call up to us here at the radio station at the Mountaintop Letterkenny if you can, and we'll sort you out.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 6th of December. You're playing on the yellow sheet for the daily prize of €1,800. The reference number is S5. It's game number 49. The numbers are 21, 58, 25, 35, 10, 78, 34, 39, 41, and finally 46. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Is the appearance of your staff important to your business? It's the first point of contact for customers when entering your premises. At C&M Embroidery in Letterkenny, they have a huge range of clothing covering all areas of the workplace. It's widely known that customers warm to and trust employees that present themselves well. Have your company name embroidered or printed on all your work uniforms. Contact C&M Embroidery on 07491 28097 and get your staff looking their best.
Join David James and the Outside Broadcast team this Friday for the Jive Time live from Century Complex, Letterkenny, for the launch of their brand new indoor Crazy Golf. Test your skills with the Crazy Golf, AR darts and shuffleboards, now open and ready to play 7 days a week. We will have exclusive giveaways on the day, so join us from 2:30 live from Century Complex this Friday.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Good morning, Seamus Gunn of McLaughlin Gunn and Company, Letterkenny and Ramelton. How are you keeping? Good to see you.
Great, Greg. Yes, thanks very much. Good to be here, Greg. Yeah.
Very, very good. Were you following the election?
Yes. Well, I suppose everybody was, and everyone has a view, and there'll be further inquiries to come and see what way it's all going to pan out. But you couldn't but be intrigued by the manner in which the results come in, and they more of the same type situation that seems to be arising, which some punters would say was predictable from the outset, when we weren't really left with two choices as an alternative government. That was sort of a key to it for me. I just couldn't see the left did not seem to address what they are now addressing, maybe in the last days, that they have to pool together to put forward a viable alternative for the people.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think that's been out there for a long time, but I don't think it was addressed pre-election.
So in other words, a potential left-leaning coalition should have been proposed in the lead up to the election, you think?
I would say, well, yes. I think that then gave people a choice. As it happened, there were, and as it was patterned out, and as it played out, and I have to say that the Fianna Gael and Fianna Fáil approach that they adopted, it was a solid proposal for the people, and to put that together as that. And then if you were looking, and quite rightly so, for an alternative, you have to really look left of centre, towards the left, and say, right, well, what is the alternative there that could put together this opposition, and also what was being touted very heavily, that it's time for change. Now, that went down very well, I think, the last time, in 2020, when we seen Sinn Féin really on the ascent, and polarising their ascent in 2022 to over 36% odd. So they looked like a shoe-in, and then for it to fall back in the local elections. But at that point, I think if the left had come together and said, well, what are we putting out there for the people to actually decide on, as against the old guard being the usual, Fianna Fáil, Fianna Gael, plus a few others, and that was never put forward as a proposition. And if it had been, I think that then you could have galvanised the left vote maybe more, and to come up with the figures. Now what you're left with is a bit of a mixed grill, because really there is no alternative. There's just Fianna Fáil and whoever goes in.
And I
with
suppose
them.
In relation to that, then I suppose people could have tactically voted potentially to achieve that left-leaning coalition. Just before we get to some questions, Seamus, sorry to interrupt there. Just to let listeners know that Matern have updated the weather warning for this area to a red wind warning. It's a status red wind warning now, and it's valid from 11 o'clock tonight until 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. So that's for 4 hours. So there's going to be much more heavier winds than were first anticipated. It's a red wind warning, which obviously could lead to falling trees, damage to power lines, dangerous travelling conditions, structural damage to temporary structures, and wave overtopping. So that's a red status now from 11 o'clock tonight till 3 o'clock in the early hours of tomorrow morning. and then it moves to an orange status weather warning, which runs till 10 on Saturday. So that's just to let people know what's going on. Right, Seamus, is there a time limit after death when an executor must have the will read? Comes in quite a bit, as you can imagine.
It does come in, yeah, quite a bit, and it can lead to a lot of frustration. Obviously, a time of grief, and people are waiting to see what arrangements are made by a deceased. And it's better, we would have a practice of trying to deal with this sooner rather than later. People are best to know where they stand in these situations, and it gives them some certainty moving forward, and maybe even helping to deal with their grief. But with regard to the point that they're raising, there's what's called an executor's year. And the executor's year basically means that for that 12 months after the passing, that's the time the person or persons that are left in charge, being the executors that are appointed, have to start dealing with the estate, to gather in the estate and to distribute it in accordance with the will. Now, if that does not happen, and for many reasons it may not, there can be issues that arise, and there could even be issues about ascertaining where the will is or where the last will is, etc. And time can pass. But in any event, if the executor's year passes and there's no activity whatsoever, and a party that has an interest in the estate under the terms of the will, at that point then they can become active. They could then make an application to the probate office by way of bringing in a citation, and then see about maybe perhaps having the executor either removed or at least forcing their hand into some form of action. But you have to allow that year, which is the executor's year, in order for that to pass before you would become active in that department. And you'd also have to have an interest in the estate.
Last week there was really bad wind and election posters were blown away. A caller is just curious, if someone is hit by a rogue election poster and damage is done, who's liable?
It's a good question, isn't it? It's very topical at the minute, and given that the storm that you're just after, you're upgrading to orange to red, and there's still a lot of posters out there. I think people should be quite active about having them removed. Unfortunately, this is tricky, because you could try to, as a lawyer, try to work out, well, is there somebody at fault in relation to it? Has the sign been put up incorrectly? Has it not been properly secured? But then let's apply there's something that there isn't an awful lot of, is common sense here. So, and let's say, well, we have a storm coming and there's going to be a lot of stuff moving around, and also the deterioration with regard to all sorts of weather conditions. So posters could certainly be a casualty. And then, unfortunately, if damage is done, where do we go with regard to liability? In my opinion, in most situations such as this, unfortunately, that will be looked on, and it's ironic, but it would be called an act of God. Now, people would say it might be more like an act of the devil, but anyway, but so be it. But that would be where it would come under. And therefore, if you did not have the object insured yourself that was damaged, you could be out of pocket. I think you would be in difficulty trying to establish that actually the posters weren't put up securely enough in order to stop them from. There might be a point or an argument, at least, to highlight the removal of them quickly, which everybody, I think, would agree with, and would all be in accord with that. But these things take time. But given, as I say, what's ahead this evening, some parties should be quite active. But unfortunately, in most cases, this could be down to an act of God.
I'm nearly 5 years separated from my abusive ex-husband. My child and I had to leave the home and my belongings because of the abuse. I'm 3 years with legal aid trying to get separation agreement settlement sorted and a divorce. My ex-husband does not cooperate with any of it. His new partner is now selling my belongings on Facebook and refuses to take them down when I explain to her that they are mine. I'm totally bewildered with this hopeless situation. Have you any advice?
Well, yeah, it sounds extremely frustrating, and family law cases as such can be frustrating, and they can go on for a considerable period of time. The individual, if they have representation, they could be looking to try to get the matter back into court, and to do that, you would be seeking to issue motions, either motions in default of appearance if there hasn't been an appearance filed by the other party, maybe motion in default of defence, to actually bring the matter before the court and then get some directions of the court on it. Obviously, if one is selling something that doesn't belong to them, that's into another category altogether. But looking at it from the legal point of view, and I've always have a view on this, that the court is not the best place, in my opinion, for dealing with family law. But in certain situations, obviously, there's no alternative. And also to ratify and to confirm a divorce, you have to obviously go and get the court order. But in relation to these type of cases that arise all the time, if the parties can sit down at the outset, divorce themselves now, I'm using that word purposely, from the actual feelings that they have towards one another that are antagonistic, think of what the situation is regarding their assets, and most of all, which will be paramount, if they have children or dependents, they look out and they make proper provision for them. And if they can do that and park everything else, they'll find that they will go a long way towards having the matters resolved, which will ultimately be resolved, no doubt, but to be resolved by wigs and gowns and the likes of myself outside a court, maybe before it comes before a judge to deal with it, which then, as a result of the fallout of that, parties can be further polarised. And if you have children involved, and you have to have access and custody has to be maybe decided, and the day-to-day runnings of a family have to continue, you're better off trying to step back. I know that's not going to be easy, but that would always be my advice at the outset, and to see how far you can go by way of agreement rather than confrontation, because the adversarial situation that we have when it goes into court can leave the situation difficult to deal with afterwards.
A caller is one of a number of siblings. Both parents have passed away and the siblings are amicable. The parents' wills were not updated in many years. Can this listener build a house on the family land if her siblings sign it over to her if she doesn't get a mortgage?
Well, the getting of a mortgage is probably immaterial if there are no other charges on the property. So we're assuming that the mum and dad, they said, have passed away. They did have mentioned wills there, which again is interesting, because if their arrangements have been made, it would likely have been stipulated as to what has happened to the land, as to who is to go to. Now, it's implied, I could be reading it wrong, that they're maybe going beyond that and they're in agreement and they want to have an agreement between themselves. Now, if an individual doesn't want to or wants to disclaim what's been left to them, that's their business, and it's a free world and they can do so. And in situations such as that, by agreement and by accord, then if it fell into the estate that they were all having a share in, yes, they could come to an agreement. A deed of family settlement could be worked out, and the land or whatever, if there was a site, was to be carved off for one. And once they all sign off on it, it should be on the face of it good title. That's on the presumption that there hasn't been any charges that are still in existence at the time of death that may have to be removed. But by agreement, yes, there could be some stamp duty implications if it was a very valuable piece of ground. There could even be capital taxation's implication for the person who is then receiving it. But if it's a son or a daughter, their threshold is now up to something like 400,000 in the last budget. So it may be unlikely. If it's a nephew or niece, that's up to 40 or so, and if it's a stranger, 20. So might be unlikely, but by agreement, I would like to see what the terms of the wills were first.
Yeah.
But by agreement, yes, they could move forward, and it would be by way of a deed of family settlement, I would expect.
Seamus Gunn, thank you so much for your time. Seamus Gunn of McLaughlin Gunn and Co. Ramelton and Letterkenny. You can contact the offices there, of course, but also online, Seamus.
Yes, Greg, yes, donegalsolicitor.ie, gun.ie, keep it simple.
It's all there.
If I don't, if I don't see you beforehand, have a great Christmas and a very peaceful, prosperous New Year. And for everybody there in Highland, keep doing what you do best, being a voice in the community, for the community.
Seamus, that's very kind of you. Thanks so very much, and a happy Christmas to you and yours. I hope I do speak to you before then. Thank you.
Yes.
Seamus Gunn there.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
The Mother and Baby Institution's payment scheme is now open for applications. This scheme provides financial payments and health supports to eligible people who spend time in mother and baby and county home institutions in Ireland. There's a straightforward application process in place to help everyone access the benefits that they are entitled to. To find out more, visit gov.ie/payment scheme or call the helpline at 01 522 9992, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
This December, Irwin Expert Electrical is your go-to for Christmas gifting. Find all the top brands: Apple, Samsung, Fitbit, Dyson, Ninja, Shark, LG and so much more, all at great prices. Looking for the perfect present? We've got it. And with our handy Christmas club, you can shop now and collect your gifts just in time for Christmas week. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana, making Christmas gifting easy this year.
We drove around in a transit. Don't miss the best late-night Christmas entertainment at Pulse Venue, Letterkenny. With One for the Road this Saturday 7th, Saturday 14th, there's David Craig and his band. And on Saturday 21st, don't miss the legendary Whistling Donkeys. Pay at the door each night. It's the season's biggest lineup at Pulse Venue, Letterkenny.
Santa Claus speaking.
It's me, Santa, your trusty elf. I've got an urgent message from Cooney's Christmas shop.
Oh, my golly goodness. What's happening at Cooney's?
Well, Santa, they've gone all out this year. Their Christmas decor is bigger and better than ever.
Visit Cooney's Christmas shop, Letterkenny Retail Park, and feel the magic of Christmas. Santa approved.
Hi, Teresa Mannion here with a road safety alert for bad weather. Your vehicle may be blown off course in strong winds, so slow down. Watch out too for vehicles and cyclists veering across the road and fallen debris like branches. Visit rsa.ie from the Road Safety Authority.
You're very welcome back to the programme and delighted to welcome into studio two guests, namely Mr. Michael Sugrue, Consultant Breast and General Surgeon at Letterkenny University Hospital. Nice to see you again.
Thank you very much, Greg.
It's good to have you with us. And you have with you a very special guest, Dr. Sinead Hanley, a radiologist specialising in breast imaging. You're very welcome to the region, Dr. Hanley. You're enjoying your time here so far.
It's absolutely fabulous. I'm really enjoying being in Letterkenny, such a fabulous community.
Very good. Now, you gave a talk last night on your own personal journey with cancer 3 times. And I suppose it's in the context of really you being the doctor and then you becoming the patient. What was the main points and messaging that you wanted to get across last night?
Well, it was a very unique experience, Greg. Being a doctor, been so involved in breast imaging and involved in diagnosing women every single day with breast cancer, and then to find myself on the other side was a very surreal experience. And I guess one of the main points I would like to get across is that I learned so much personally and professionally from being a patient, far more than I could ever have imagined just working in the area. Being a patient was a really unique experience, and I think it's given me tremendous insight into what it's like to be a patient and all of the emotional challenges that go with having a diagnosis of cancer and having treatment. So it was a really, it might sound strange to say it, an invaluable experience that has really helped me with my own practice and in dealing with women who are diagnosed with cancer. Having been through it myself, I know exactly what they're going through.
And having sort of, worked with people who've just received a diagnosis of breast cancer and understanding maybe how it manifested, and also, of course, I presume you never lose the impact the information you're passing on might have on a person. But if you do it very, very, very regularly, okay, you kind of have to move to the next person. And I'm not in any way diminishing the care, but I'm just curious, in a way, did that help you cope a little better with the news, or was it a bolt out of the blue and that's where the learning exercise came from?
It was a complete bolt out of the blue because it's not what you expect. Nobody expects to get cancer, and it just really shows that it doesn't discriminate against anybody. It can affect anybody, and doctors are affected as well. And we do have the same emotional vulnerabilities as everybody else when they're a patient. So in answer to your question, it's not something that I necessarily share with anybody, but just having that deep understanding of what somebody is going through. And also, apart from the medical knowledge, just been there supporting patients and knowing what they're going, or holding their hand, or reassuring them that they'll get through this, and helping them along the way. I only deal with them at the very beginning when they've been diagnosed. I don't see them again, maybe until they come back the following year and they've had all of their treatment. But just feeling that I can help them along the way a little bit is very rewarding.
Mr. Sugrue, I know you and your team and us here generally in the Northwest very focused on the care, but also on research. And we could be forgiven sometimes for thinking that we're standing still, but there are advances being made all the time, isn't there, from a research perspective? And we'll speak to Dr. Hanley in this regard as well. But it is quite, we're always trying to move forward.
Yes, and it was so marvellous to hear Sinead's talk last night, Greg, and to hear how her life has been saved by advances in breast care and management. And, the people in that room last night was probably one of the most outstanding talks we've ever heard. So coming back to Sinead, and, research had a huge impact on you, Sinead, didn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I wouldn't be here today without the advances that were made, because I had a couple of recurrences with metastatic disease, and I'm still alive 17 years later. The drugs that I was on weren't available when I first was diagnosed, so the research is absolutely crucial, and that's why, the fundraising that people do, it does make a big difference. Every dollar donated has a huge impact. It may not help you today, but it will help your neighbour, your friend, your colleague in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
It's constantly evolving.
And I think you put it really succinctly there, because often, that's what the point I was trying to make. We can't track the advances, right? But you've done it in one sentence. The treatments you were able to receive were not formally available, and when they weren't available, your outcome would have been
very different.
Very different.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the treatments that I was on, I was the second person to go on it. And now it's been around for 10 years, and it's a terrific treatment. And, who knows what may be available. And the other interesting thing is that for breast cancer, the 5-year survival is now 92%. And that's as a direct result of the worldwide research that has gone on. And that doesn't just happen. That has to be funded. So I've been very fortunate in that I've benefited from the advances in research.
Yeah, indeed. And every euro counts, and that's why an event like tonight is taking place, Mr. Sugrue, doesn't it? Because it is turned into progress.
Yeah, it is fantastic, Greg, to have another sellout breast ball. It's a community event. It's not for medical people. It's medical people can go, but it's for It's for the community, and the community in the Northwest are unique, as Sinead realises. The support is fantastic, and you come back to Sinead, and I think you've had 17 operations, you were telling me last night. I mean, and to be here with Michael, her husband, who's a professor of rheumatology in Adelaide, and have your 3 kids, not here, but to have them and to be able to share them, because there is hope with breast cancer management, Greg, and your story is so remarkable, that fight, Sinead, isn't it?
Yes. And just to reiterate what Michael was saying, with the community and the support, not just in terms of supporting fundraising activities like the breast ball tonight, but just the general support for those who have cancer. It's very impressive. It's really unique, and it's not something that I'm familiar with. And this idea of a breast ball, which is a community event, is a fantastic idea. I'd love to bring that back to Adelaide.
Talk to me a little bit more about why you're not familiar with that. Is it completely alien to...
Well, I first of all, breast ball. You don't want to Google breast ball, I tell you that. But it's when Michael told me about it first, I kind of wasn't quite sure. There's lots of fundraising things, but this is something that the community can get involved with, that women who have had breast cancer can go along and kind of celebrate.
Does it talk a little bit more to how we deal with it, or communicate it, or are more open about it, or...
Possibly. I think it's unique in that it's for patients and for community. And I was talking to one lady last night, and she said that it's also an opportunity to remember those that have gone before that may not be with us. So it's a dual celebration of those who've survived, but also a recognition and a slight poignancy of those that haven't.
Where do you think we might get with the research, Dr. Hanley? You know, what potentials out there, do you think?
Well, there's a lot of potential. I'm in the radiology area, so I'm more familiar with that. Michael would be familiar with all of the advances that are going on in a broader sense. But in radiology, one of the key things is diagnosis, and so having access to either breast MRI or contrast enhanced mammography is really important. And I know Michael is very keen to get contrast enhanced mammography here in Letterkenny, and I would fully support that. That's another.
What difference does that make?
It's particularly valuable for women who have dense breasts. And if you have dense breasts, that means two things. One, you've got a slight increased risk of breast cancer, and that's not just because you've got more breast tissue, but also it's a lot more difficult to detect a breast cancer if you have dense breasts. So having access to contrast enhanced mammography increases the likelihood of detecting a cancer. And so contrast enhanced mammography would be a really great thing to have here in Letterkenny.
Yeah, Mr. Sugar, it's essential, isn't it, that everyone has equal access and that we can avail of the advances that are being made.
Yes, and we're working on that. We have a kind of 3 planned attack in terms of our radiology. We want contrast enhanced mammography. We want greater access to our MRI. We're looking at automated breast ultrasound. And inherent in all these systems now, Greg, is the concept of inbuilt AI. And that in radiology is an important aspect. And I think Sinead would have some experience in this as well. So these things take a little bit of time, Greg. But we have strongly advocated now. We'll do a business case in the next 2 months. We started our business case to have these things for our people here in the Northwest so that they can get, those particular subgroup of higher risk patients can get greater access.
Dr. Hanley, talk to me a little bit more about AI and its role.
Look, it's certainly been used in a lot of studies across Europe, and one of the main uses is in the screening programme. It's very difficult. There's just not the number of radiologists available to report vast numbers of screening mammograms. So one of the key areas for AI is having a radiologist look at a mammogram and have a second look with an AI program. And the studies have shown that that combination is as good as 2 radiologists looking at the study. So it's quite exciting because breast radiologists are not that common, and it takes a long time to build up a depth of experience. So that's a very exciting potential for reading screening mammograms.
Yeah, sounds fascinating. Aquila says, I want to let everyone know there is life after breast cancer. I'm 18 years cancer free thanks to the staff at Letterkenny University Hospital. That comes in from Tina. Hi, Greg. I just highlight the fantastic care Dr. Sugar and his wonderful team gave to my mother on 2 occasions with breast cancer. And another, my mother has had breast cancer and surgery. I'm in my mid-40s. Is it recommended to have a review myself now, earlier than the breast screening programme can offer? I don't know, Mr. Sugar, if you want to...
The answer to that 40-year-old lady is yes. So if your mother had breast cancer, you really need to... it depends on the risk, and we stratify the risk. We're very fortunate here that our unit has a special interest in family history. We ran the first ever family history symposium in the Silver Tassie in Ireland, to our knowledge, about 9 years ago. We use an IBIS risk calculator computerized program for people like that lady who rang in with the 40-year-old. So the answer to that lady's question is, if your mum had breast cancer, then you need a mammogram from 40. If, however, your mother had breast cancer at 40, you need it 5 years younger than your primary relative. Sinead is in the screening program, Greg, in South Australia, which is one of the leading screening programs around. So, the benefit of screening for people is so important.
It's really important. And if you've got a family history, yes. And it also depends on the extent, the extent of your family history. And it's something that needs to be checked out, because depending on the number of relatives you have or the age at which they developed breast or also ovarian cancer will dictate the surveillance that they will have.
Yeah, so that's to make sure that you're in full consultation with whomever you should be. Presumably, in the first instance, your your general practitioner and what have you, and that they know a lot of the information that you're talking about. What's work like in Adelaide? How do you find yourself there? And you're not Australian, are you?
No, I'm Irish. I grew up in Galway. Yes,
You haven't been here. You haven't been here long enough. It's only a day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You picked it. Nothing wrong with your hearing there. And it's funny when I come back here, they say I've got a little bit of an Aussie twang.
No, I'm not picking that up. But anyway.
No. So Adelaide is a population of about 1.2 million. And I work in two areas. I work in the breast screen program, which is like Breast Check Ireland, which is a fantastic organisation. Women can have a free mammogram every 2 years, and I would encourage all women to make sure they're available of that programme. It's a free mammogram. It's the best thing that you can do for your own health and for your family. So that's one area. And then I also work in a very busy private practice where we do a lot of breast imaging. We have two very, very big breast clinics. And so most of my work is involved in breast imaging, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, and just in relation to availing of those scans, Mr. Sugar, I mean, there are many cancers where you might not have the opportunity to get, early notice. And of course, the sooner you are diagnosed and begin treatment, the better. So, I mean, obviously, there are, in certain cancers, but not in all. So that's why it's so important when we do have that screening process to engage in it.
Yes, with breast screening, in 50 to 65-year-olds, the reduction in mortality from a screen-detected breast cancer is very significant. I think Sinead said in her talk last night it was 40%. It's slightly less for the younger age group. But I know there's some of your listeners out there who can put their hand on their breast today and they have a lump. The unit is there to support them. Their family doctor is there to support them. And we have a very sympathetic approach. And even the team, it's all about a team in the unit. We're all very sympathetic to people that come. And as Sinead said, we hold their hands, we make them feel good, and we can get them through this. So for the listeners out there who can feel a lump, especially those over the age of 35, they need to contact their family doctor and not be afraid to come in, Sinead, because sometimes you do see late presentations, don't you?
That's right. Yes, it's very important to be breast aware, check your breast regularly.
And not triage yourself.
No.
I think some people can try and be very brave or I don't want to bring this on the family now, or I'll check it in 6 months or whatever. I mean, you do, if you are getting an indication, you have to follow that up, don't you?
Absolutely. And you'll feel good that you've done something to look after yourself and your family.
Yeah. I'd like to thank Mr. This is what happens, by the way, Sinead, every time Mr. Sugar is on, it's the text coming thanking him. It's just part of it. So I would like to thank Mr. Sugru for saving my life a few times and for all the good work he has done. That comes in from Anthony.
Well, Greg, can I emphasise I work as part of a team. And on that team, I mean, it starts at the front door, Greg. Yeah. I mean, we've got, Rosalind and Catherine, and then you go through the secretarial support, Geraldine and Kathleen, and then you come to the nurses, Nicola and Geraldine and Sinead, and then you go through us. But we're only the start. And as I say to the medical students yesterday, the radiologist is the key. And then you have, after that journey, you've got the oncologists, Karen and Chris and Vuzek, and then you go to the radiation oncologist. So it's all about the team.
Yeah.
So
and I suspect when they are passing on the thanks to you, in some cases it's personal, but also a recognition of the team. Last one, I'm someone who had breast cancer, and I cannot say enough about Mr. Sugru and his fabulous team in Donegal. There is life after breast cancer. I'm looking forward to the ball this evening. That comes in from Lynn and all the team at the Good and New Cancer Shop. And it'll be nice after the talk last night, which I'm sure you enjoyed, and I know people in attendance did, to let the hair down this evening, Sinead.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it.
And bring up tips for the next one in Adelaide.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be taking notes for sure.
Okay. And finally, Mr. Sugar, how wonderful is it to have access to people like Dr. Sinead? You always have fantastic guests, but they come with a new perspective or different approaches, and it's really
well, last night's perspective, Greg, was unique. I mean, we've had professors from Cleveland, Sloan Kettering, Mayo, but Sinead really related something that resonated with everyone in the audience, and that's about you can become a patient. We all will become a patient someday, and we need to have more sympathetic, empathetic approaches and be more supportive. And we're all really busy. And I've picked up a few things. I did years ago from Sinead, because we've met a few times over the last decade. And Sinead, in my discussions with her, gave me some tips. Incidentally, they weren't intended as tips, but I took them away and they've changed my practice. And a number of things she mentioned last night will change my practice. But for people out there, there is great support and availability.
And Dr. Hanley, when do you think is the right time, maybe, I don't know, is it through training or what have you, to try and emphasise to medical professionals that at some point you might become the patient? If you know what I mean, like Dr. Sugru learnt it from you to a certain extent. I'm sure he had knowledge of it beforehand. It was, you really, the penny dropped with you when you became a patient.
Mm-hmm.
I just, at what point do you think would be best to maybe try and introduce this into the learning or the experience, so that others don't have to wait for a diagnosis to get that attitude?
I think it would be a lovely thing if somebody who has had a lived experience of cancer can speak to medical students and give the patient perspective, because we often forget that we're so focused on the medical knowledge that you can sometimes forget. And although a lot of doctors are naturally very sympathetic and empathetic, to hear from somebody who's had cancer the lived experience and the small things that make such a difference, I think we don't fully realise that as practitioners, that the things that we say and do make a difference, particularly when a patient is vulnerable. If you're relatively well, it's not so important, but it's when you're isolated and alone and on the table by yourself, your friends and family are in the waiting room, it's just you, that's when you really appreciate
the little
kindness,
things too, isn't
the
it?
little things.
It's not major stuff.
It's
just
the small things, getting you a blanket, the nurse getting you a blanket because you feel cold. They're just the most beautiful things. And I always found that they were the things that made me most emotional.
Yes.
It wasn't just having cancer, it was the kindness of the staff around me that I really valued.
Okay, that's wonderful. Dr. Sinead Hanley, enjoy the rest of your stay. Enjoy tonight. We really appreciate you sparing time for us today.
Great.
Yes, Dr. Sinead Hanley there, and of course a familiar voice to listeners, Mr. Michael Sugru, consultant breast and general surgeon at Letterkenny University Hospital. Both of you, enjoy yourselves. Thank you very much for your time. It is a sellout, by the way, so we have no tickets to flog. It's always a sellout, and this year is no different. Back with the weather after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Spoil someone with a beautiful fragrance this Christmas from McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Choose by designer, budget or celebrity. Top names like Clarins, Burberry, Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana. Also great prices on Calvin Klein, Flower Bomb and so many more. The best fragrant gift sets available this year can also be found in McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at mcgees.ie. McGee's, where the best costs less.
Tommy Fleming returns to the Millennium Forum Derry as part of his nationwide tour on Saturday the 22nd of February. Tickets £35 from Millennium Forum box office 0287 126 4455. A night of Irish, folk and contemporary classics. Tickets make the ideal Christmas gift.
Octavia, Fabia, Scala, Superb, Kamik, Karoq, Enyaq, Kodiak, Petrol, Diesel, plug-in hybrid, electric, HVO. So much choice, but not that much time. Whatever 251 Skoda you choose, you should order it now. Because even though we have a wide range, they're selling fast. See what stock is left at skoda.ie and order yours today.
Skoda. Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
Apply online for learner permit and driving licence services, including renewals, updates, exchanges and replacements. It's easy and hassle-free. Visit NDLS online today at ndls.rsa.ie. Verified MyGov ID required. A message from the Road Safety Authority.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenny's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhennys.com.
Right, so let's have a look at that weather forecast. It's kind of a two-hander because for today, Storm Dara will bring wet and very windy weather. Rain will be widespread and will be heavy at times, possibly causing localised flooding. Some sleet is possible on hills, and there is a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Very strong and gusty south to southwest winds will develop during the afternoon and evening. Temperatures of 8 to 11 degrees. Now, since then, moving on to tonight, there is a status red wind warning. So that is the highest colour level that we do have, and it is affecting counties Donegal, Leitrim and Sligo. So it's just going to cut right across the northwest of the country. Extremely strong and gusty northwest winds. Now, what's quite interesting here is we don't normally get strong and gusty northwest winds, and I would have concerns that our infrastructure, which is well used to sort of getting winds from a southerly direction, it might impact it in a different way from the northwest. I'm just saying that, by the way. That doesn't form part of the warning. It's just we don't always see extremely strong winds from this direction. So you're going to see potentially fallen trees, damage to power lines, dangerous travelling conditions, structural damage to temporary structures and wave overtopping. That's from 11 tonight until 3 in the early hours of the morning, and then that is replaced by an orange wind warning. So for 4 hours from 11 onwards, it's going to get very, very windy, and it's coming from a direction that very, very strong winds don't necessarily ordinarily come from. Right, okay, we are going to go into the That's Entertainment realm after a break for the news.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Please support the St Vincent de Paul annual appeal. Donate today at svp.ie or call 0818 176 176. Thank you.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Farm incomes forecast to rise in 2025. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, as beef and lamb prices boom, latest Teagasc data shows farm incomes set to recover. Suckler scheme money on the way to 20,000 farmers. BIS and ANC balancing payments hit accounts. Exclusive machinery guide with all the 2025 specs and price information you need to know. Up to 20% extra slurry storage needed on dairy farms. Plus how to celebrate Christmas without overspending. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Make your toy show a great night in with Centra's amazing offers. Like Tato Assorted, Cheese and Onion and King 18-pack boxes $2.50 each. Cadbury Milk Tray 360 gram only €4. And Coca-Cola range 12-can packs €6 each plus deposit. Centra. Live every day.
Give the gift of sport this Christmas with a gift from Brian McCormick Sports. Compression tops and leggings to keep your body warm. Perfect for any outdoor sports. Swimwear, Speedo suits with matching goggles and accessories. For the hurler, new helmets in many colours with matching grips. For the active one, support your feet with new performance socks called Features. Good trainers deserve good socks. Christmas gift ideas at bmcsports.ie with next day delivery.
Looking for the best rates on foreign currency? Visit Bureau Express on Lifford Road, Strabane. We offer special rates for commercial customers competitive with banks on currencies like euro and sterling and dollars. With 60 currencies and free parking, we're your one-stop shop. Call 028 7188 2081. We're the last turn-off before the Asda roundabout. Bureau Express, Strabane.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, let's get a news update at 11 o'clock, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Met Éireann's upgraded its wind weather warning to red for a number of counties. It comes into effect in Donegal at 11 o'clock tonight. The warning will be effective for a number of hours as Storm Dara bears down on the country. The entire country, meanwhile, is subject to an orange wind warning from 10 o'clock tonight. A former Finn Harps player has been suspended for breaching FAI betting rules. Ryan Rainey has been banned from all football-related activity for 6 months following a disciplinary process. The FAI has confirmed the breaches are connected to a number of League of Ireland and Men's FAI Cup games between 2021 and 2024 and a significant number of bets placed on football worldwide this year. The Taoiseach and Taoiseach will join British Prime Minister Keir Starmer at the British-Irish Council meeting in Scotland. Northern Ireland's First and Deputy First Ministers are also attending. Meanwhile, a senior Fine Gael official in Donegal says she believes a coalition involving her party, Fine Gael, and like-minded independents is the most likely government to emerge from the talks getting underway next week. On today's 9 till noon show, Doreen Sheridan-Kennedy said while Sinn Féin got a higher voter and seat share in last week's general election, the political reality means they are not likely to be involved in the next government. Concerns have been raised over low vaccine uptake in the northwest and west as flu cases and hospital admissions are on the rise. The HSE is urging eligible people to get vaccinated for COVID-19 and flu ahead of the festive season. The viruses are expected to surge in the coming weeks. A Midlands North West MEP has accused both the Taoiseach and Taoiseach of talking out of both sides of their mouth. It's as European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen prepares to sign the Mercosur Agreement. Kieran Mullooly says the silence from the Irish government on the matter is deafening. And Donegal County Council is being urged to increase awareness of a grant available for people requiring an occupational therapist assessment. There's a huge backlog in OT waiting lists in the county, with some people waiting up to 6 months for an assessment. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed.
Hello, love. We missed you at Kate's party.
Tell them your phone is playing up.
My phone is playing up. And Jamie's christening.
Say you were sick.
I
You
had a headache that morning. Is everything okay?
Tell them everything's great.
Everything's great. You sure? Not really. If you suspect that someone you know is in an abusive relationship, find out more about the signs and support available at womensaid.ie. Alliance are proud to support Women's Aid and the world's strongest women.
Okay, that's entertainment, and I'm going to introduce Michael and Fionnuala to you very shortly, but I just want to give you a reminder that all this week we've teamed up with Cadbury Secret Santa. They've got 22,000 bars to give away this year, and to celebrate the return of Secret Santa, we've two huge hampers of chocolate to give away today, plus a €50 voucher. All you have to do is quickly tell us who you'd like to surprise with a Secret Santa bar this year. Why do they deserve it? What good reason would you have to surprise someone with a Cadbury Secret Santa bar? So tell us about it. And you could win €50 today, and also go into a draw to win 2 Cadbury hampers today, one for you and one for your Secret Santa. It's all thanks to Cadbury Secret Santa. And don't forget, if you want to send a bar to someone in secret, look out for special posters all around the county. They've got little codes on them that you can scan, and it's all very, very easy. But anyway, to win €50 voucher today, plus potentially 2 massive hampers of chocolate, text who deserve to win 086 60 25,000. Text to WhatsApp 086 60 25,000. We've already had 5 winners of €50 voucher. We've already had 4. We'll have a 5th today. All 5 then potentially could win the 250 in total. I believe that's how it works. Caroline can correct me if I'm wrong, or is it everybody who entered? I know it's fine. Just enter and then we'll sort all that out. Okay, Michael, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us. How was your week?
Good morning. Very good week.
Good stuff. All right, we'll leave it at that. Fionnuala, Rabbit, how was your week?
All good.
Very
Busy
good.
out now.
Got
And
the checkbook out?
I know, in fairness, there's so much money leaving this organisation. We got to go try and get a few pound in. Busy out now for the Christmas and getting ready for the Christmas. And Monday we have our Christmas concert, so we're down to the last few tickets for that as well.
That's very good. Who's in off the top of your head? Do you
Mike
know?
Denver.
Brilliant.
Is the main
Excellent. Mike
man.
Denver
We have him
band.
back again. We haven't had Mike doing a concert for us now since pre-COVID.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So it's fantastic to see us getting.
And there's still a few tickets available.
Yeah, there
Okay,
is.
brilliant.
There's some here at the station, or you can get them in Alexander's in Ballybuffet, in the Cope in Dunlow, in Simpsons in Buncrana, Carndunna, maybe. I'm saying the wrong thing. Anyways, and also then from the Mount Argyll themselves, or you can just get them on the night if you want to just arrive
Brilliant.
in on
Okay,
the
that's
night.
fantastic. Okay, that's Monday night. Looking forward to that. And let me see, Michael.
Yes.
Are you going?
I completely tuned out there because I was writing my review of something in my head here. I was trying to figure out what's important, so I apologise.
That's okay. Right, let's go to the cinema. Small things like these. We'll start with you, Michael, today.
Yes, that's one of the big films of the year, I think, certainly for us here in Ireland because of Cillian Murphy and the subject matter. This is another serious Oscar contender for him, no doubt about that. It is based on a 2021 historical fiction novel set in the 1980s. It's coming up to Christmas 1985. And Bill is a successful businessman in a small community in Wexford. He's a coal man and he's delivering coal to the local convent, the Magdalen Laundry. And he sees some things that give him pause for thought as regards the way the girls are being treated. And that is really as much as you can really say about a film like this. It's a film that falls into those type of films that I like The Outrun with Saoirse Ronan. Movies where I jokingly say nothing really happens and there's very little said. So this is really what you get here. Very little happens in terms of a plot, in terms of things changing maybe from A to B, and very little is said. But it's an incredibly powerful film because of Cillian Murphy's performance. He convinces you every step of the way that Bill is deeply troubled by what he sees, and Bill is torn as to what to do about it and what he can do about it. And that's where the movie really works. It pulls you into Bill's story, and anyone I know who's seen it has raved about it, as I have raved about it. Critics have embraced this in a big way. It has 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. That means more than 9 out of 10, like 19 out of 20 critics have given this a thumbs up. And the audience score is 81%. So again, 4 out of 5 people are really enjoying this movie.
And it's going to be, for some, the subject matter. It will be not necessarily the film. It can be, maybe that's not exactly what they were looking for. Are films like these, are we in the sort of sunset of films like these going on in cinemas?
In terms of it being more of a television project,
well,
you mean?
Not really. Not specific. Well, I mean, it would have previously, historically, been a cinema.
Yes,
It's just in terms of,
those stories being told.
Well, no, big companies putting the money into a film that's not going to pull in stuff like Iron Man 17.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I just wonder if not. There's a platform from the now with all the streaming platforms.
Yes,
don't get me wrong, but I just wonder.
No, I think I know exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean. And it's in this one, it's the star power of having Cillian Murphy fresh off Oppenheimer that's going to put bums on seats. But I think you're probably right. Under normal circumstances, this wouldn't be a top tier kind of movie. I'm not sure if it's really the end. I mean, you'll always find, I think, optimistically, I would say you'll always find big stars who will take on projects like this, and that will make them successful. So I think that might be the exception to the rule. The fact that he put his name onto it. It's Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are the producer and executive producer of this, so it's their money has gone into it, which means there's a force behind it to get it seen, to get it out there. I would like to think there'll always be a percentage of these movies that will be made cinema, by those people. So that's what I would hope. But in many ways, I could see this winding up on streaming,
Yeah. Fionnuala?
Well, no, I haven't seen this movie now. It's a subject matter that I don't really watch. But
it's kind of interesting because I'm kind of the same.
Well, I most people know, you know what I mean? I had a child in the 90s, so it kind of, I don't know, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
But so I don't really watch it. But I do know from this, one of the things that I know everybody's been talking about it is that one is when Cillian Murphy actually became involved in this, he wasn't actually famous because he started this pre-Oppenheimer.
Right. Oh, yeah.
His interest in it. So he actually it was even before Oppenheimer came out. Now, obviously, he was famous in the sense that a lot of people, but not
he
the
didn't
Oppenheimer.
have the clout. Yeah, I
not
get
the
you.
Oppenheimer famous that he is. He's
clout.
always had a certain amount of clout. So that's one of the things about it was this is a project that it's I think she's Irish, the author that wrote the book. Yeah, she was recently on with Oprah. If anybody,
Claire Keegan.
Yep. She was on with Oprah there lately. So I think he has a connection to it through his Irishness as well. So that was one of the main things I think that came into it. And then obviously Ben Affleck and Matt Damon got involved in it. But the other thing I think a lot of people are talking about this movie is it's not just some people might think that they're going to it and it's about, the nuns and the nuns did this and the nuns did that. This is more about the community and the community in which the convent was in.
Yes.
And, there's more of a look at the societal situation.
To some degree.
Not necessarily just the
One thing that comes
convent.
across in the movie, which I liked, one thing I really liked about the movie, and another performance that stood out for me was Emily Watson as Sister Mary. A major plot point that comes out in the movie, without saying too much, is that it's brought up to Bill by a close friend that he needs to be very careful because the nuns, the convent, have a lot of financial power in the community, and it's one of the reasons that the community stays in line. And it's made very clear in a brilliant scene, maybe the best scene in the movie, that if he steps out of line, they'll cut his business out from under him. And the publican is also aware, and various people are aware that if they say anything or in any way confront the religious order, they'll become persona non grata within the community. So there is an element of how the community is almost held hostage by the most powerful money force in the community. And I liked that aspect because it makes you realise that this guy is up against it, and really, without saying too much, he can't do a lot.
All right. What are you giving it out of 10?
For me, it's an easy 9.5 out of 10. I'm gonna say it's not quite the film of the year for me because I still think The Outrun with Saoirse Ronan is just a better film for a few reasons that I can't really say on air without spoiling this one. But this is as close to perfection as you can get, and it's very powerful and emotional to watch.
Okay.
And I have a connection as well, like Fionnuala. I mean, my own mother, I was adopted. My mother was a teenager in 1970, and she experienced some of what's in this film, and she told me about it when I met her a few years ago. So I do find myself having I try to be objective, but it's hard to be objective with this subject matter because I know how I was in that situation.
Yeah, it's relevant to a lot of people.
Yeah,
isn't it?
to so many people.
That small things like these in the cinema now, highly rated by Michael. Just a bit. Yeah, go ahead.
No, just before we move off the cinema, just to say congratulations to Mark and the team. They opened the new section of Century. I don't know if they call it Century Play or whatever.
David's
it's
down
a
there today
Century
too.
Golf. Yeah, they've opened that new section where they have
what that means, don't
indoor
we?
crazy
we
golf.
get the video no one wants, and it's a cheesy competition between David and Sean.
Definitely,
it's happening.
When it's indoor golf,
you know what I mean? It's happening, and no one wants it, but we're going to be fed it.
It's definitely an indoor golf competition. So they've indoor golf, they've got air darts, they've got shuffleboard, and all that kind of thing. So they have a fantastic.
I'm interested in going to a couple
there.
of those things, and the good thing about it is it's indoors.
Yeah, I know. It's
which is,
unusual to see an indoor golf. I'm very interested to see what it's like.
They have perfect day to be out.
Yeah, they launched
indoor.
I know.
So if you have the space and you have the vision, you can achieve anything, and that's what they have.
Absolutely. So congrats to them anyways on the opening of it.
And David is down there. I'll just get one of the team to double check that, but I believe he's down there this afternoon. Just as a follow-up to something we discussed last week, which is nice. Just want to say me and the kids went to see Shrek last night in On Green on Theatre, and it was absolutely fabulous. They all loved it, and when the actors came out at the end, the kids were delighted to get their photo taken with them, and it was just really special, really great. First time for the kids ever been at the theatre, and it was wonderful, and perhaps
lovely.
that is the seed planted there.
Class.
That's it,
I doubt
exactly.
it'll be the last. Hey, Caroline, what did you say in my ear there? Oh yeah, he is. Okay, he's David's down there. So
then
there'll be loads more information.
There's definitely going to be a putting competition.
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure, of course. And lots of theatrical laughing. I can't wait. I'm only joking. Morning all. Taylor Sheridan has been a busy man, currently watching new seasons of Yellowstone, Lioness and Landman. Top quality TV every time.
Yep.
The Pembrokeshire Murders has been put up on Netflix there. It's an old ITV show. It's not that old.
Yeah, I've seen
it's only 3-part and very good, by the way. If you're looking for something for the weekend, watch it as a film. There's lots on this weekend, and we'll talk about what's on tonight after the break. But if you're not sure whether you should watch it or not, do watch it. It's really good. It's really well
Luke
put
Evans,
together.
isn't it?
Yeah,
he's
is
very
Luke
good in
Evans a Hollywood star, is he?
He is now. He's
Was
been
he
in a
in-
few bits and pieces
Was he?
like that. Yeah.
Was he in some of the Marvel films or those? He wasn't a superhero or nothing, no?
No.
Right, okay, he just has that look off him. All right, then. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Late Late Show in a moment. Should we give people some good news first? Because we're wrapping up our competitions.
Oh, nice.
So, this is Friday's winner of the Cadbury chocolate bar Now, this doesn't mean that they've won the overall prize. This is today's €50 voucher winner. We're going to do the overall winner in the next 10 minutes. And it is Friday's winner. I'd like to nominate Sharon O'Donnell from Ramelton to win the Cadbury chocolate bar. Sharon dedicates her life to hospice care and palliative care of numerous patients across Donegal. Sharon has suffered a significant loss quite recently, her beautiful cousin Sinead, who was more like a sister to her. Despite her heartache, Sharon returned to her patients, putting their needs and the needs of their families before her grief. Sharon is truly a beautiful person. And the nomination came in from Julie Jordan in Ramelton. Now, you've won the €50 voucher. Julie, I don't know if you wish to gift it to Sharon or share it or whatever your plan is, but you're also in the draw for the two €100 Cadbury chocolate baskets, hampers very, very shortly. Now, we also had a great competition running in association with our friends at Seascape Spa at the Silver Tassie Letterkenny. And the overall winner winning this wonderful €130 package is Sharon Malloy in Roscarrow in Milford. And she correctly answered Jingle Bells. And again, I said it yesterday, lads, if you're wondering what is good, or even girls, if you're wondering what is good to get the other half, you can't beat a spa voucher from the Silver Tassie, because it means you're giving them 2.5 hours to themselves.
Oh, yeah.
The foot massage, the head massage, the oils, the cocooning,
Oh,
all of that stuff.
They have a padded room that you can just kind of
well,
lie down in and relax in.
People around here need that. But anyway, the point being
It's
is
lovely.
it's
Lovely.
just one of those gifts that it's about the individual, because they can just switch off for 2.5 hours. So that's all very good. Thank you so much for all of you who entered that. We had an amazing response to it. Greatly appreciated. And we're going to announce the winner of our two hampers from Cadbury, worth €100 each. They're wedged with chocolate. That's coming up in the next 10 or 20 minutes. Right, I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to come back with more from Michael and Fanula.
9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Join Paul McDevitt and the Highland Video Outside Broadcast team this Saturday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. for a live broadcast from Eclipse Cinema, Lifford Strabane. Enjoy exciting prizes, giveaways, and learn all about the dine and screen experience across all 7 studios. Plus, get 10% off their gift vouchers.
On Business Matters this week, I'll be speaking with Liam Tinney, owner of Tinney's Toys, and Michael Burke of organic wool pillow maker Woolo. So join me, Chris Ashmore, for Business Matters after the 6 o'clock news on Sunday.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. If you have an idea to start or grow your business within Donegal, contact the Local Enterprise Office to find out more about the supports available for businesses. See localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
Christmas is the season of giving, but it can be difficult to know who on your list wants what. Save yourself the guesswork by giving the gift of choice. Whether you're buying for the foodie, fashionista or homebird of the family, they'll love a Dunstore's gift card. They can choose from everything we have in-store and online, from fashion to homewares to groceries. Give the gift of choice, perfect for everyone. Visit dunstores.com for details. However you do your Christmas shop, make Christmas for everyone at Dunn Stores. Terms and conditions apply. There's nothing that says Christmas like the sound of bells. But there's one bell that stands out above all, that captures the true spirit of Christmas. Because that's the bell that says family and friends have arrived to share this special season. The best way to celebrate Christmas is with them, and the best way to connect with them is Bus Éireann. So this Christmas, let's get the bells ringing. Let Bus Éireann connect you to Christmas. Bus Éireann, proudly part of the Transport for Ireland network. To plan your Christmas connections, see buséireann.ie.
Shekelatha ama Highland Radio. Arna dor tugat ag Airgrid. Uproar agus forbor anga letrahas na Héireann. Airgrid. Pobal a guachtu, era a guachtu. Teshe.
20 minutes past 11, and tonight it's a little later than usual, but it seems lots and lots of people very, very excited, and it is the Late Toy Show. Fanula, you've this on your list. Is it because you're excited?
Well, I am excited. I always like the Late Toy Show, as I like a good Smith's catalogue, and I sit down with my nephews and nieces and go, every time they see something, I'm like, I'm getting that. I'm getting that. And then they get really mad because you're getting what they're getting. So I love a good toy show. You always get something nice and new in it. Plus, I also think this is, for me, is the start of the Christmas. I haven't watched, you see all the platforms now and they're full of the Christmas movies and the new and the old movies. It's a bit early yet, but once the Christmas toy show is done, you're kind of like, all right, now it's Christmas.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
we can crack on now.
Yeah, it's like, the toy show's done. Now it's time to get the tree. The toy show's done. You kind of just get into that sort of
And it's one of those things that a lot of people in this country derive pleasure from. But there's people will watch it just to slag it off.
Oh, God, yeah.
And if you don't like it,
Yeah.
Don't watch it and slag it off on X. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it.
Oh, really?
There's-
Some of the joy is
Oh.
slagging it off.
Really?
Well, there's always one of those really precocious kids that just goes cracked. You know the way? Do you remember there was the kid that came on and he was like all about the tractors and he was giving the whole thing with
That's fun.
and all
I
of a
wouldn't
sudden he comes a bit
criticise
famous
that,
and then he becomes a little bit famous with
Yeah.
it and he's going out and about. Or there was that lovely young boy that did the hug that year and all of a
That's
sudden he
right.
wrote the book. So there's always something like that which you can equally admire but also slag on. I think to me it's such an Irish thing. It's very much like it's kind of the Rose of Tralee kind of a thing. You watch it, you kind of half taking the mick of it, particularly of the presenter now. Some of the kids are hilariously funny when they get, that they get really into it, or some of them become, are monosyllabic, and then he has to try and get them going again. So I think it is. It's part of it is the kind of the slagging off,
And a
as
bit
long
of-
as it's done in nice.
Exactly.
Well,
that's not.
yeah.
I'm not talking, but I know what you're
Yeah.
about.
As long as
And
it's
also,
done
there's
in
sort
nice,
of an
these are
element
kids.
to organised chaos to it, isn't there?
Oh, there always is,
that's
yeah.
what you
And
want.
then the way then the celebrity, a couple of the Irish rugby guys will come out, and the kids will be falling about the place crying. And do you know what I mean? It's
I
just
wonder
all
is
part
he
of
any
it.
more pulling power guilty? For any surprise turn-ups.
I don't know. He hasn't managed. I actually
He had it last year, didn't he? This is his second year.
This is his second
Oh,
year,
no,
yeah.
no.
But last year, though, he wasn't long into it now. So
He
maybe
was
this year
finding
he's
his
a bit
feet,
more
yeah.
settled into it. But I don't know. I mean, you don't notice it much now, and I don't watch it all the time. So maybe I'm open to correction. But I haven't noticed much pulling power in his guests.
Yeah.
You
that's
would have
quite
thought he'd
true,
have a
yeah.
little bit more coming from, since they're
And
supposed to
Home
just
Alone
back
is
from
the
same.
theme, which is, isn't it? I don't know why you
You're
that
ahead of
blank
me.
look.
I don't know.
Is
Didn't
it
know.
not Home Alone the theme tonight?
Oh,
the
the
film?
movie?
I
Oh, lovely.
thought it
Well,
was.
it's the anniversary.
I
of it,
didn't know.
probably,
I'm
so,
really
yeah.
worried.
I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't have a clue.
I just thought it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. I don't.
See, I hear things.
I didn't go that far into my research on it. I
Okay.
just knew it was on, and I like talking about it.
And there
They
is
don't
some.
keep it all top secret because they used to years ago. Like you know how they were
no,
very.
not the team and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
They let
You
that
don't
out.
know. You don't know who the kids are going to be on it. They
Right.
they take like
Yeah.
300 or 400 kids, and they interview them all, and nobody knows who the guests are and different things.
I remember
like that.
seeing a thing a few years ago. Do you remember it was an RTE show about the making of the toy show where they showed how the kids are, prepared and it was very.
I
interesting.
mean,
Yeah, I
we
remember
could do an X bingo. Do you know what I mean? Some of it's more serious, and others have things that people will say
Oh God,
on
yeah.
on that
Yeah.
on that cesspit. It's crazy. I would almost do it actually because I just know the way people react
Oh,
to
I
certain
know.
things.
I
I'm
know.
not on about the general population.
No, you mean
I'm
the
on about
really-
certain people. People
Yeah.
getting triggered because there might
Yeah.
be a child.
Yes, I know what you mean.
of
People,
colour or
but those
something, you
people,
know,
going
that
back to
kind of-
what you
No,
said,
it's
those people
crazy.
are hate watching. It's just they're looking for something.
Oh
to
yeah, you don't want to do.
hate
Yeah,
it.
don't watch it
And
like
it's-
that now. I
it's-
have
yeah,
to say.
yeah.
So the only problem we have here is a little friend of ours called Dara, Storm Dara, and the winds are coming from a different direction than what we used to. So hopefully the power stays on for most people, and they get to enjoy it. But
Well,
that's
it'll be on again on Sunday, anyways. If you miss it, don't
Okay,
forget.
well, that's fine.
Put the fire on.
That's the
on
backup plan.
I know. Put the fire
but
on.
why
on
put it
Sunday.
on so late? Because how many children are going to be? Because I
know,
think
but I
most
think
parents
that's-
have routines with their kids.
I know, but I think that's that's probably true
Falling
of
asleep
everybody. It
watching the
is.
telly,
It's
it's
kind,
part
you
of
fall.
it.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like everybody gets ready. In our house, even when we were kids, and I know now with my nieces and nephews, it's like they're. Today is kind of like a movie night now.
Yeah.
So, like my sister now in particular, she this is when the chocolate mallows come out. This is the start of Christmas, and the box of chocolate mallows is opened up for the Christmas, and you have all of the the sweets and the popcorn, and everybody gets their drinks, and they all sit down and watch it. And admittedly, by 10, half 10, 2/3 of them are all asleep. But that's kind of part of it. That's why they put it on again on Sunday, so the bits you missed, you can come back to.
Isn't it tradition too? You couldn't if
It's
you
it
brought
is.
it forward an hour. Or, if you start to mess about with it,
All
wouldn't,
right, okay.
wouldn't
It
it be?
is. It is.
I don't know. Wouldn't it be?
And the funny thing, the impact it has on for those who have to buy gifts, because obviously Santi brings most of the gifts, but for the children, for those who have to buy gifts, it's putting a lot of pressure on those that sell them. because they don't know what kind of reaction they'll have to stock levels.
What's going to be?
Something always ends up becoming the top last minute present for people when they have to buy something.
Saving grace
for the godmothers and all that have to buy something for somebody.
It doesn't affect Santi because he's got his own way of sourcing stuff. He makes them, you see. So
I
that's
know,
fine.
he's lucky.
Right, Fly Me to the Moon. I watched this. Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum.
Yes, well, I just mentioned it. That's exactly what I was just mentioning. The weather's going to be bad this weekend. People may not be going out and about. If you want to have a little home date night, this is a lovely movie to sit down, put the
Sounds like an absolute horror show. A home date night.
But sure, you can't go out and about. And
so if I was free tonight and I saw some doll, I'd be like, do you want to come back to my home for a date?
Well, firstly, if she thought you called her a doll, she probably would say no.
Yeah. A swift kick to the... No, listen, look, this is a movie that Michael and I went to see. A lot of people have seen it when it was in the cinema. It's a really kind of a fun, enjoyable, nice movie.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if you're stuck in the house and you're not able to kind of go out and about or whatever this weekend, throw the kids up to bed, get yourself a glass of wine, sit down and watch them. It's just really nice. It's fun. There's a lot of, there's really good characters in it. Channing Tatum is fantastic in it. Scarlett Johansson is brilliant in it. It's loosely based around the idea that the moon landing was faked. It's that kind of a story in the background. Scarlett Johansson is a PR person.
That element of it, not to contradict you, is that they had a backup plan.
It's a backup plan,
So in case they didn't make it,
they
so it's kind of a bit of a tease actually in that regard.
Yeah. So I just think it's a very fun movie. I know a lot of people might have missed it when it was in the cinema, and if you are stuck in over the weekend, it's a good one to stick on the telly, and everybody will enjoy it.
Yes, Greg, Home Alone is the theme. Okay, that's good. Have any of the panel watched Madness on Netflix? It's pretty good on white supremacy in the USA. Might not be something I'd watch, to be honest with you. But if it's good,
it's supposed to be fantastic. I actually was on my list to watch, and I didn't get around to it because I started watching something else. It's on Netflix. It's based about this guy who is mistaken identity. He's on holidays, kind of up in the mountains. And he meets a neighbour, and then the neighbour gets killed. And I think, from what I can gather with it, he gets accused of it, and it's all about his kind of trying to prove his innocence in it. But it is getting fantastic reviews. It got something like 9 out of 10. I think it was 7.5% or something like that in IMDb. 76% in Rotten Tomatoes, that kind of thing. It's getting fantastic reviews, which is why it was on my list. So,
all right, Greg, please say to your panelist, Michael, thank you for sharing that very personal insight into your birth, adoption and discussion with your mother, who was so young when she gave birth to you. Perhaps Michael would come on with you at some stage to talk about this very important subject close to many hearts. Big hugs and thanks to Michael. I love your input on the panel, and well done on your radio story too. Brilliant.
Oh, thank you very much. And that person.
You have a fan.
That immediately doubles my fan base. One other. That's a
100%
increase. Okay. Oh, wow. Thank you to that person. Lovely.
You have to watch Secret Scripture on Netflix. It's something somewhat based on true events of a woman in Sligo Regional Mental Hospital for 50 years since being accused of murdering her baby in 1942. Okay. Wasn't aware of that.
No, I haven't come across it.
Definitely have a look at that one. Right, okay. We are going to take our 11:30 break. Stay with us. Loads to come in the next 30 minutes.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
If you need an eye test, look no further than Louis Walsh Opticians. Letterkenny's longest established opticians are delighted to welcome patients new and old to their state-of-the-art practice in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. Their latest technology includes a 3D OCT retinal camera which assesses the health of your eyes in minutes. Private, medical card and PRSI patients welcome. Call 91 21000 to arrange your eye test.
Louis Walsh Opticians, Letterkenny. Your vision, our focus.
Who's supplying the magic at Lidl this year?
Hi, I'm David Brett from Oak Park. It's our 15th year supplying Christmas hams to all of Lidl's customers. We select Board Bia quality assured Irish pork. We naturally smoke them using beechwood chips.
Board Bia approved Irish ham joints from $9.99. Wishing you a magical Christmas with Lidl.
Donegal at night. It's vibrant, it's diverse, it's ours. Let's be safe and sound. Whether you're out for dinner, a show, a match, or just a stroll, we all play a part in creating a safe and enjoyable atmosphere. Let's look out for each other. Keep our streets clean. Have fun. Let's keep Donegal a place where everyone feels welcome and respected. Let's be safe and sound. This ad was brought to you by Donegal County Council and is an initiative of the Buncrana Nighttime Economy.
Everyone loves going to the cinema. That's why an Eclipse Cinemas gift voucher is the perfect Christmas present. They aren't just for kids, but all the family. Even little Miss Hard to Buy For. We all have one of them. And when you buy an Eclipse Cinemas gift voucher, you now get 10% extra free. Available on our Bundoran and Lifford Strabane cinemas or at eclipsecinemas.com. Vouchers don't expire and can even be used for dine-in screen options and VIP cinema experiences.
Make your next menswear choice at Watson Menswear Letterkenny. From suits to casual wear, there's big names to choose from like Andre, Remus Umo, Superdry and Penguin. If you're going to a special occasion, get fitted in style for less with a three-piece suit, shirt, tie and shoes, all for just €299. That's at Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and online at watsonmenswear.com. Christmas Club is also now open and a small deposit will secure any item.
Now it's time to wrap up our cabaret competition, and we have our winner, and each daily winner was allocated a number, and then a draw was took place, and the overall winner is let me see, Caroline Doherty. Shivy is my friend and neighbour. She's kind and selfless and always willing to lend a hand in times of need. Caroline is a doula and is a wealth of knowledge. She has helped myself and many others, I'm sure, during my pregnancies and and in my postpartum period. My children are now 8, 6 and 2, and she still is there for help and advice. I never know how to thank her for her continuous helping hand, and I think she would absolutely deserve a Secret Santa hamper. Thank you, Caroline, for all you do. From Sarah and family in the Rock. Now, the good news is, Sarah, you've also won an additional €50 voucher for being the overall winner. And you've also won 2 €100 Cadbury chocolate hampers for you and presumably for Caroline as well. So fair play to you for entering and all of you for entering. Thank you so very much. And for Caroline as well, who is clearly a wonderful, wonderful person. So thank you to all of you for taking part in that competition. And of course for Cadbury for making it happen. Donna Rosemary Scanlon is with me now. Good morning, Donna.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me.
I can. You are looking incredibly festive, Donna, with your lovely tree behind you. How are you keeping?
I'm keeping very well, thank you, and I hope you're well yourself, Greg.
I am indeed. And we're talking about your new Christmas single, Christmas Again. It can't be half a century since your last Christmas single, and if so, why?
Well, Cocoa Christmas was 1975, so we're just pretty well, gosh, it sounds so bad when you say half a century. But it came about in COVID. Our youngest son, Rob, was in our bubble. And, you know, like everyone, it was very hard because you couldn't be together as family, and we always gather together as family. And Rob said we should write a Christmas song just about how we're feeling. And I didn't think it would be possible to do that, but out of it came Christmas Again, which basically says, if we can't be together at Christmas, it doesn't matter if it's June or if the sun is shining or whatever time of the year and whatever weather it is, we'll be together and it'll be Christmas again.
And
so it's
a message to, obviously it resonated with you at that time because it was the pandemic that kept you apart. But like all good songs, they apply to different situations. It could be someone with a loved one in Australia or someone who's in hospital or something like that there. And people often with music sort of take their own interpretation from it, don't they? And I suppose it's about family and put together by family. A lot of family influence in this song, Donna.
Oh, very much so, Greg. Rob produced it and he plays drums on it, but the rhythm section are all guys that he has played in a band with since he was 14. They met at school. They're not professional musicians, but they're great musicians, like so many people in our country. They may not make it their profession, but we've so much talent. And my brother Jerry is on keyboards and piano, and my nephew Jonathan of the Rua, you might remember they had a lot of success in America.
Yep.
He's doing backing vocals with a lovely girl, Rosie, who worked in the coffee shop where they all used to go. So we did it at home. We produced it at home and in a home studio in the Galway area. And then we have professional string players. They're Romanian who came to live in the Galway area about 25 years ago. So when I listen to it, I just feel so proud of them, Greg. It's a very special thing to me.
Remarkable pool of talent to draw together. And before we listen to it, are you leaning or drawing maybe from the 60s and 70s in terms of the style of this, Donna?
Very much so. That kind of a vibe, that kind of a Phil Spector, like the big wall of sound. And we had a great engineer. Actually, you'd laugh when I met the engineer, a young lad. He's Kyle. He said, "Nice to see you again." I said, "Oh, we've worked together before?" He said, "No, you gave a talk to me. It's when we were in school." I came into his class. I tell you, I'm just bursting with pride about them all. And we wanted that kind of a happy foot, tap your foot, and a happy feeling about it because, listen, we have children that still in Australia. We have another one in Africa. We know what it's like to be apart.
Yeah.
So I hope that this will give people a bit of hope that we'll make it Christmas whenever we get together.
It'll be Christmas again. I'm going to play the song now, and it's available on all the usual streaming platforms, and you can also download it from DonnaOfficial.com. Always lovely to have you on the programme, Donna. Thank you so very much indeed. Take care of yourself.
Lovely to talk to you. Happy Christmas, Greg.
And
to
happy
all the
Christmas
listeners.
to you, Donna. Take care, and to you and your family as well. Okay, let's hear a bit of Donna. It'll be Christmas again.
Sitting here writing this letter, thinking of what I should say. I know you'd be with me if only you could, and I'm hoping it's Christmas Day. Wrapping up all of your presents, leaving them under the tree. But darling, if you're not with me, this is how it's gonna be. There'll be snowflakes falling in the middle of June, sleigh bells ringing out Christmas tunes. Whatever the weather or time of the year, it'll be Christmas when you are here. All I need for Christmas is to hold you tight. I'll be waiting till the time is right. Whatever the weather, when we are together, it'll be Christmas again.
There you go. That's quite nice, actually. I can get the wall of sound vibe to it, and also it's nice and upbeat and happy. Okay, that's Donna. It's Christmas again. You can download it from DonnaOfficial.com or stream it on your favourite streaming sites. Do you listen on Spotify? Do you listen on Spotify much, Michael?
Yes, I do.
Did you get your Wrapped?
I did.
And what was your number one song?
My number one song was Meghan Trainor. I Get It. I love
Really?
Meghan Trainor. I love Meghan Trainor. I love that
I
song.
know you love her. I just didn't. One
I
second.
Get It.
Oh, I don't know.
That's a
that.
great track.
Did
Yeah.
you use Spotify much?
I don't really use it. They're a competition to us. I don't understand why we're not.
No, it's not. It's not competition to us at all.
They make money off advertising for audio.
Yeah, I know, but it's not.
I boycott everybody that isn't.
All right, okay, fair enough. That makes sense.
So yeah,
I know I do use it a bit, but I didn't get any kind of a wrap or anything like that. I don't know.
No,
does that come
does
does it come as an email or does it
No,
come
it'll,
in your
it'll appear on
Spotify?
your first page when you log in. It'll be there. You're Wrapped, and it'll tell you your number one song, and it'll tell you your artists like Placebo, Garbage, and David Bowie, Ryan.
This was my. This was.
What was your track?
I'll play a bit of it. Ready?
Yeah.
listen to it a lot, but not quite as much as they made out.
They can't be wrong.
Yeah, maybe they're not.
Yeah.
I don't think they're.
But it was
they're
weird. It was
a
like gossip.
computer.
It was gossip. Then it was Kanye West.
They're a computer
And then it was
system.
Sabrina Carpenter. And then, then it was Dr. Dre. But you see, often you just hit the playlist, you know, the top 40 or whatever it might be. But anyway, that was my number one song.
I accidentally clicked play on Sabrina Carpenter at one stage, and for weeks afterwards, they had her in my. I was like, they were really pushing her. I was like, I didn't even listen to a full track. It was an accident, but they made it seem for some part of the summer like she was the artist I wanted to hear the most. But I have my own playlist.
You should listen to her more.
Really?
Yeah, she's great.
Is she as good as Meghan
Finally,
Trainor?
she's taken.
I love Meghan
Well,
Trainor.
no, do you know what? For me, she's just kind of displaced, I think, as the queen of pop of Taylor Swift. And I never really got Taylor Swift.
I don't get Taylor
If people
Swift
want to
either,
enjoy her, that's fantastic and all that kind of stuff.
I know, geez, don't bring on the wrath of the Swifties.
No, I don't think
her.
I'm not going to worry too much about me. But it's just, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't get the Taylor, so I know people are obsessed with her.
Yeah.
One of my nieces is constantly trying to convert me. She keeps saying, "Oh, listen to this one, listen to this one." I'm like, no. If
you
she
do
actually,
anything for your nephews and
I
nieces.
know. If she actually gets married, I don't know what's going to happen because she writes all her songs about her ex-boyfriends. I like Meghan Trainor because I think her songs are fun.
Yeah, they are fun.
They're really kind of fun.
irresistible.
Yeah,
Like, they really
they're
are.
very
Well,
fun
she
and toe-tapping.
had one of the big viral hits of 2024 on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
She's great. And she's married to one of the Spy Kids, which is nice.
The little bits of information
You
you
know
come
it
out
all.
with. All right, listen, we're going to take a break because John Bresson is he's going to join us, Caroline, is he? Yeah, John Bresson's going to join me because he's got a really exciting feature on his show.
Phone-in show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today. Get ready for Christmas at Meehan's of Raffo with men's polo shirts, quarter zips, chinos and shirts all up to 5XL. Shirt and jumper sets available up to 4XL. A large selection of ladies' diesel fleeces with matching leggings to make the ideal Christmas gift at Meehan's of Raffo with Christmas gift vouchers available.
If you're planning your perfect home for 2025, start at Foy's in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet. From free interior design consultations to expert paint colour advice, we'll guide you every step of the way. Whether you're designing your living room, bedroom or dining room, Foy's have everything you need. Choose from a wide selection of paints, curtains and blinds to suit every style. Your dream home starts at Foy's in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet.
Enjoy real savings this Christmas at SuperValue. Like half-price SuperValue Signature Taste Fresh Irish Hampshire Pork Loin. SuperValue Fresh Irish Eye of the Round, now save 33%. And pick up 7-Up, Pepsi and Club 18-can pack selected range, now €10. Share the magic this Christmas with SuperValue. DRS applies.
Here at Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville and Bridgend, we stock recliner and fabric suites, dining tables and chairs, beds and mattresses, curtains and rugs, and don't forget our large flooring department stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on price or quality and give a weekly delivery service to Donegal, Derry and Strabane, not to be matched. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
Be the first to test drive the brand new Nissan Qashqai at iMotors. Low finance rates and up to €4,000 available on trade-in boosters. iMotors are offering any customer who orders before December 23rd the chance to win €10,000. Visit our showroom today.
iMotors, fearless generation.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. In the recent Air Quality in Ireland 2023 report, the EPA indicated that while air quality is generally good, EPA monitoring stations show that fine particulate matter, mainly from burning solid fuel, continues to present a threat to good air quality in some areas. Donegal County Council is actively monitoring the quality of solid fuels, particularly coal-based products and firewood, for sale across the county to ensure they meet the current regulations. You can make a difference over the winter burning season by only buying and using compliant fuels and not burning waste such as plastics which can be recycled. Donegal County Council, protecting your environment.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
So Storm Dara is going to bring wet and very windy weather today. Rain will be widespread and will be heavy at times, possibly causing localised flooding. Some sleet's also possible on hills, and there is a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Very strong and gusty south to southeast winds will develop during the afternoon and evening. Highest temperatures 8 to 11 degrees. Those winds are going to veer northwesterly, and that's given way to a red wind warning for Donegal this evening. It's also for Leitrim and Sligo. I presume it applies to Derry and Tyrone as well, but unfortunately the way the weather's delivered to us, it's not included, and that's valid from 11 o'clock tonight. I don't know why, but it feels significant. John Breslin's in studio with us. John,
so it should, yeah.
It feels, and just by the way,
I feel a bit naked without headphones.
This happened impromptu. It happened by accident before, because I says John Breslin coming on with a special feature on his show. Yeah, exactly. They did it without rehearsing.
I know. We were up since 7:30 this morning practicing that.
No, the Donegal Food Response Network do amazing work, and their services have never been needed as much in modern times. And with that in mind, John, you, along with the Letterkenny Lions Club, have a very special event running today. Talk to us about it.
Well, it's been running for the last 2 weeks. It was launched a couple of weeks ago on the show, and it's been running for 2 weeks. So the site's been
culminates today, doesn't it?
It finishes today. Yeah, absolutely. It comes to a head today. So the sort of the final bids today, and we spend the show just sort of reminding people about some of the items that have been up there that have attracted attention, what the current bid is. Just to let people know. I mean, you get a reminder now. You get an email reminder if you've been outbid. But this is just another way of reminding people, I suppose, that today is the final day for bids, and what the current bid is on certain things, because certain things get a lot of attention and get a lot of bids.
But what happened last year and in previous years too is that, right, okay, this is for a very good cause, but if people are actually into bargains, there's some really, really good stuff here that you're potentially getting at a discount. So you are helping, obviously, the Lions Club support the Donegal Food Response Network, but there's bargains to be had, John.
Well, that's what I said at the launch. It's all about the bargains, and even if it's just a bog standard voucher, you're going to get it for less than face value. Now, we know the money's going to a good cause, but we all love a bargain, and that's what attracts people. And even if it's a regular €50 shopping voucher or whatever, you could be getting that for 40 or maybe less.
Well, I just randomly went straight into electronics because that's my interest. Callahan's Electrical are involved as well. They've got a Telefunken 32-inch smart TV. So that has your Netflix, your YouTube, and all that kind of jazz on it. The current bid's €140. That TV's worth €200, and that would be a pretty good deal. So straight away there, bid 150.
Yep.
Supporting the Food Network.
Yep.
50 quid in your bank. New telly on your wall. Bish bash bosh.
And who knows? You could get it for 150. Might go higher, or you could get it for.
Well, it won't now that I've mentioned it, because I've 150. But yeah, definitely, it is. And there's loads of other stuff in here. Golf. Let's go into golf.
There's a lot of golf.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So if you want to play a 4-ball for Dunfanaghy Golf Club, for an example, it would cost you $240 normally. Currently, 130 quid. Critch Island, normally $240 for a 4-ball, 130 at the moment. Yeah. Group in with your mates. And this is all money that's going directly to the Food Network, John.
And you're going to make big savings on some things, small savings on others, but at the end of the day, you're going to make a saving. Go in and put in a bid, and there's, fair chance that you're going to make a saving. Some
Brilliant
things
stuff.
end up going for above the retail price.
Oh yeah, listen, we would love that. No, don't go in and try and save 50 quid. Like if you bid and pay 50 quid extra, yeah, of course, because it's going to a great cause. So who's in studio with you over the course of from 12 to 2:30, John?
We've got Keith Fletcher's coming in for a wee while towards the start of the programme. Then John O'Connell, who's president of the Letterkenny Lions Club, will be helping out for a while. And Michaela from our newsroom is going to come in then for the last half hour. So just to go through some of the items and some of the current bids.
So there's a Radisson Blue hotel voucher at the moment, which allows you to experience a luxurious getaway in the Radisson Blue. The voucher is worth $250. That's what it's worth, $250. So you get €250 worth of experience at Radisson Blue. It's currently at $175.
There you go.
just another example. That's closed, by the way. It closed at there's some of them are closed, some of them
Oh,
are
are
open.
they? I didn't know that.
Well, it says closed on it, but anyway, that's just to give some examples of what's closed, what's open, and all that jazz, and a bit of crack as well, John, as usual.
Absolutely, yeah. Well,
You never know what happens when you have people in studio with you.
Well, as you well know.
Got that.
Anything else you want to mention in relation to it?
It is good. No, that's it. That's it. Loads of info and loads of details on various items over the course of the show. letterkennylionsclub.com if you want to have a look or put in a bid.
Yeah,
I always like it because if you're buying a present for somebody, you're giving a gift to somebody, but you're going to be spending the money anyways. But on top of giving the gift to somebody else that you're doing, you've also managed to give a gift to the community and to, you know what I mean, to the Lions Club. So it's kind of like that double goodness that you feel to yourself. So it's a great thing that what the Lions Club do with this auction.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's fantastic.
So there are 130 lots up for grabs. Some are closed, some are open, according to their website. I hope maybe I'm on last year's page, am I? I don't know. Anyway, listen, John will sort it out. He has all the proper info. All I will say is there's tons of stuff there. And you're supporting 24 food banks. Yep. 624 families, 16.5 grand was raised last year, which is amazing. So it's really significant. It's what they're doing is amazing.
It's a great initiative and it's really successful. And people get the concept.
Yeah.
And as you said, everybody loves a bargain.
Exactly. Listen, brilliant stuff. Thanks, John. Really appreciate it. That's John Bresson, who's coming up around the Northwest, plus guests after 12. And John and his team will tell you all about the 100 plus items that are available to purchase for up to 30% below market value. So be sure to get your bids in. You can call the station during John's show on 07491. That must be a specific number, is it? Is it? Okay. 07491 04838 or visit Lion Clubs. One second. Where do we get these extra numbers from?
We always have them. We just don't use them.
Okay. All right. Okay. Finally, we get to use the numbers. Revolting people on Spotify. We mentioned Spotify a little earlier on. Talk to me.
Spotify has this BBC series from like 20 years ago, and I threw it in.
Your
there.
microphone's completely the wrong way round.
Right.
The numbers are supposed to face you.
There we go. How's that? Is that better?
It's fine. Bit frustrating that I have to remind you of that, but
sorry.
it is perfectly fine.
Rolling People is a BBC comedy series. Half-hour comedy series, ran for 4 seasons 20 years ago now at this point, which is shocking to me as I still think of it as reasonably new. You can the episodes are also on YouTube for free, so I mean you can actually listen to it on YouTube if you prefer, but you can get them through Spotify as well. You pay obviously because it's a BBC product. It's a brilliant half-hour comedy series, and I would rate it as one of my favourite comedy series of the last 20-25 years. The guy behind it is an American writer called Jay Tarsis, who was responsible for some of my all-time favourite TV series in America. Molly Dodd, which ran for 5 seasons with Blair Brown, which it was a huge influence on Ally McBeal. If Molly Dodd hadn't happened, I don't think Ally McBeal would have happened a few years later. He was also the guy on shows like Slap Maxwell's Story, and he worked on Bob Newhart's sitcoms and all this kind of stuff. But he got fed up with American TV and he moved over to BBC Radio. And he created this show with Andy Hamilton, who's probably best known for Drop the Dead Donkey in the 1990s. So you're talking about 2 of the sharpest writers at the top of their game. So what's it all about? The main character is a guy called Samuel Oliphant, and he is a shopkeeper and he wants a quiet life. But that's not going to work out for him because the year is 1770 and he lives in Baltimore. And he has grown-up kids. One of his daughters is a rebel, and she is determined to get the English out of America any which way she can. And this is complicated considerably in the first episode when a garrison of English soldiers force themselves upon poor Samuel and his boarding house and are then positioned there for the remainder of the series. Now, the leader is a bit of a buffoon, but the second in command, played by Hamilton, is corrupt to the core, and he's the second major character in it. So the first seasons, the early seasons are serialised, and the story follows and gets more and more complicated as Samuel, played by the writer, the creator, Jay Tarsis, tries to navigate between his daughter, who wants to obviously kill all the English, and the fact that the corrupt sergeant, who's a hilarious character, He is, I would describe him, but he's one nostril, one ear, one of everything. He's corrupt. He goes after every woman he sees. He's a fantastic character, a comedy character. He's just hilarious. So things get more and more complicated. They're half-hour episodes. They're done in front of a studio audience, so you get live laughter. It's an example of radio comedy. I think it is very best. I think it's just hilarious. I revisited a couple of the episodes because I wanted to chat about it, but that I hadn't heard in years, and I was still laughing away, and I'm like, I'm just going to finish the series again.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just so funny. So I don't know how many people would be aware of it, but I would direct people to it if you want a good, hearty laugh.
Brilliant.
And it's just a great show. I love it.
All right. I have to inform listeners that the best Donegal Bazaar is on this Sunday in Mallinhead Community Centre. They've got great prices again this year. Vouchers for hotel stays, iPhones, Samsung tablets, power tools, hampers, local distilled whiskey and gin, toys and much more. More info's on the Mallinhead Community Facebook page. It starts at 2 p.m. on Sunday. So buckle down, batten down the hatches, stay safe. I wouldn't be going out this evening from 11 onwards unless I had to, because you don't know with trees and piles and all that. So hopefully the style pylons, hopefully the power stays on for everyone, but the majority of people, and enjoy the Late Show and enjoy the weekend. Fionnuala, thank you as always.
Okay.
Take care of yourself. Lovely to have you on your programme. And also, Michael Eddy, always great to have you on. The latest episode of
Ballylesane
is out on
Spotify.
And you can listen to all of the episodes on
Spotify and the Highland Radio website.
Okay, brilliant stuff. Do you remember what she said a little bit earlier on about
Don't mention Spotify, yeah. Don't mention it. Don't mention it.
Cool. Stay tuned. John Breslin's coming up with loads of guests in studio, the usual mix of music, newsy bits and crack, and also, of course, plugging that amazing auction from the Lions Club. That's all coming up.